Bristol, Tennessee, home to the world's fastest half mile, Bristol Motor Speedway. One of NASCAR's most demanding tracks hosts the first elimination race of the postseason for the NASCAR Cup Series. Time to take the playoff field from 12 to 16. Welcome everyone to Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic, the first elimination race of the year at one of the best events of the year, the Bristol Night Race. Dale Jarrett, what makes this night so special?
Marty, there's just nothing else like it. From a driver's perspective, it's a half-mile, high-bank track. Things are happening quickly around here. You have to make great decisions. The fans feel like they're literally right on top of you as you're racing around here, and to have the determination, the skill, and the will to get to the end here, KB.
Listen, you heard those fans when we came on air. That's part of it. It, like the sign says, it's Bristol, baby. There's no place to hide in a 55-gallon drum. You better show up tonight to get it done.
Just outside of Victory Lane, along with the Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty, I'm Marty Snyder. You know, they call this place the last great Coliseum. Yes. We're hanging out with 100,000 of our closest friends, and you have the actual trophy, which is literally a sword for this race. So what word, Kyle, would you use?
Did you see me in France? Did you see me in France?
That was very good. You were fencing, yes.
Yeah.
What word would you use to describe 500 laps at Bristol?
Brutal. It's brutal. It's physical, it's mental, and it's emotional. These guys better put on their big boy pants, but we're going to see some crying tonight. We're going to see tears of joy. We're going to see tears of sorrow. And we're going to see a lot of tears of relief that they get to live to fight another day.
Yeah, KP, and all of that being said, you're going to have to keep your composure somehow, some way. That's easy to say, hard to do, as we can see many times here. And these are some of the very best that have raced here through the years, getting upset with the way that they were driven on this track. I would not say that we won't see this happen tonight.
First cutoff race of the 2024 playoffs, DJ. So which drivers surprise you that might not advance?
Yeah, two drivers below the cut line right now that I really expected more from, even though their seasons haven't been great. But Brad Keselowski and Martin Truex Jr., as I looked at this first round, I thought they could put together two decent runs out of these three. Now it's gotten down to the point that they haven't had a good run yet, and they're going to have to do something spectacular tonight to move on.
Yeah, I've got one above the cut line and one below. I've got Chase Briscoe above. I think they spent everything they had, all of their energy, to get into these playoffs. That was Darlington, a fantastic performance. But I've got Denny Hamlin. I've not seen him these first two races. I'm counting on him showing up here, but he's in trouble.
So, Kyle, does it matter that the first three drivers currently out finished 1, 2, 3 in the last Bristol race?
Hamlin, Truex, and Keselowski. No, it makes no difference where you finished in the last race. These are three of the best drivers ever to race at Bristol, Tennessee, at this racetrack. But when you look at it, when you look at this place, this is not a regular season race. This, as we hear Denny Hamlin be cheered as he comes out, this is for your life to move on and continue.
I don't think those are cheers, those are boos. Denny Hamlin, a little love-hate relationship with the Bristol fans here.
I don't think he really cares.
No.
Motivation right there.
Got that swagger, baby. Got that swagger.
Denny Hamlin's in this mix because just two races in, it's already been a postseason filled with issues for the playoff drivers.
You all right? Yeah, I don't know if I blew a tire or what.
Yeah, unfortunate.
I got clobbered in the left rear wheel. Right where the corner hit the wall. So, I don't know.
They were done because we can't steer the car to take it to the garage.
With the damage we have here, we're not going to be able to fix it. Just pimp our tires just to try to make it to the end here.
Obviously, finishing 31st is not good, so.
It's just a couple races where things out of your control just didn't go well.
Lock it down, lock it down, lock it down.
If you can get it out of the sand, get it out of the sand.
Drove his car off of mine. Wait, drove through me. I don't know what the hell was that.
We're going to make chicken salad out of chicken, you know what. Instead went all the way back. Big hit for us.
We're junk.
It was just chaos, kind of a nightmare weekend.
Martin Truex Jr. comes in this Bristol cutoff race, 14 points below the cut line, your final full-time season NASCAR Cup Series. You want to keep the championship hopes alive? How do we do it here at Bristol tonight?
Yeah, we'll just have to see. You know, I think our best Pro Shops Camry's pretty fast, and hopefully, you know, we're starting near the front. I hope we can stay there, get a bunch of stage points, and then you never know what can happen. So I think the plan is you try to stay up front all night long. Hopefully that works out. It's this place is tough. It's a long race. A lot can happen, but I'm excited about the opportunity, and we're going to have to put it all out there tonight, and hopefully it's enough.
Dylan, hopefully it is enough. He'll roll off in the 4th position.
Chase Briscoe comes into tonight just 6 points above the cut line. We always talk at Bristol, seems like there's so many things out of drivers' control. What is in your control that you can use to try to propel yourself to round 2?
Yeah, I think just on your end, right? Like, you can just not make mistakes, whether it's pit road or restarts or, you know, obviously you can get caught up in other people's mess, but there's a lot that you still can't control. And, you know, this track's going to change a lot. So, you know, as the race car driver, you're the one driving it. You got to search for the grip and find it and figure out where your car's the best. So, yeah, we got a good starting spot with the Rush Truck Centers Ford. You know, I don't know what it's going to be like in the race with all the stuff that's changed, but we've put ourselves in a really good position, and now we just have to execute. If we can do that, I feel confident that we can move on. It's just going to come down to execution at the end of the day.
Chase Briscoe has track position to start, Kim. He needs to keep it all night.
Brad Keselowski comes in below the elimination line, minus 12 points, and you start deep in the field. So how aggressive do you and the team have to be here tonight in order not to get eliminated?
I mean, we need to go out and have a great day, and we need some other guys to have bad luck or just go win. So the good part for us is this has been a good track for us, Kim. You know, I think we've had a lot of really good runs here. We've led laps and been in contention to win. We need a really great day today.
Marty, Brad is a 3-time Bristol winner.
Such a compelling setup to close out the first round. So, Kyle, give us your prediction. Who are the 4 drivers eliminated tonight?
Listen, I feel bad about this, but I got Brad Keselowski, Chase Briscoe, Martin Truex, and Harrison Burton. And I say that because 2 of these guys move to new homes next year, and one of these drivers, Truex, he just goes home. So that's why I've got him out this round.
So KP and I decided to make it easier on our graphics department today. Exact same group. And I'll say this. I prefer saying, KP, that it's great minds think alike, wouldn't you say? But if we are correct in this, this is 2 former champions out in the first round here with Brad K and Martin Truex Jr.
You know, one of the best things about the Bristol night race are the driver introductions. Here was Daniel Suarez just a moment ago coming out to the fans here at Bristol. I love the sombrero, Kyle.
That's perfect, man. Hey, that's like a starter kit for Richard Petty.
We heard the boos for Denny Hamlin a moment ago. We'll talk to the quote-unquote fan favorite here in Thunder Valley. Denny Hamlin coming up next from Bristol. You're watching Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic. Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sonic. Live free. Eat Sonic. Here's what's on the menu, presented by Sonic. Bubba Wallace has signed a multi-year contract agreement to stay at 2311 Racing in the 23 car. Wallace just missed the playoffs in 2024. It was announced yesterday that Corey LaJoie and Justin Haley will change rides starting next week at Kansas, a very rare late-season driver change. And the playoff field goes from 16 to 12 after this race. Currently out, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex Jr., and Harrison Burton. Well, we just heard the proof of it, but the Bristol fans have a love-hate relationship with Denny Hamlin, a 4-time winner here. Another good example, this race last year.
Starting in the second position.
I'm a fan favorite, what can I say? I didn't really feel like introduction was really necessary in that given moment. But this was one of the duels of the 2 best teams. It was myself and Kyle Larson. I thought we were just a little bit better than him that day. We both ran 1-2 for most of the day.
2 more, don't pick up in a bad spot.
Man, just to be able to outduel him there at the very end was awesome.
White flag, 1 more.
Bristol night, baby!
Burner down here, and you'll be good to start finish line for your interview.
And then at this moment, I'm thinking, you know, usually they always cheer the winning driver.
So are these fans motivation for you? There's a lot of boos out there.
The fans really weren't having that in the moment.
I beat your favorite driver.
One thing about this, I got to give props to Marty Snyder. He teed me up perfectly.
Who would that be?
All of them.
Denny Hamlin.
That was my favorite. And it was totally unrehearsed. You know, all of them.
And tonight, Denny will try and beat all of your favorite drivers again. You come into this race below the elimination line, minus 6 points, but a 4-time Bristol winner. The last 2 races, you've ended up in victory lane. Does that make you the favorite here tonight?
I mean, certainly we think we're going to run well. You know, I felt like my car was pretty decent in practice. Certainly, I think we were set up a little bit more towards the tire wear stuff, but still feel like we got a versatile enough car that we're going to still be pretty good tonight. So feel confident in our starting spot, our pit stall, everything's in place. Just got to go out there and do it.
All right, Marty. Denny looking for a solid night so he can transfer to the round of 12.
So, Kyle, you have Denny Hamlin advancing. By the way, here's how the playoff points shape up coming into the first cutoff race of the 2024 playoffs. But to that point, it's Bristol. So how can they have so much confidence in the 11 camp that it's going to happen tonight?
Well, first, because he gave Marty Snyder a shout-out right there. So
Come on now.
No, because he's Denny freaking Hamlin. If he decides to walk out that gate right now, he's going to join my man Dale Jarrett in the Hall of Fame someday. That's the confidence he carries. He called his shot in 2012 at New Hampshire. He called his shot earlier this year at Dover and won the race. He's not called his shot here at Bristol. Don't mistake that. He's not called it. But he can step up. He's that caliber of driver that can step up with his back against the wall and make something happen.
DJ, how do the DraftKings odds shape up for tonight?
Yeah, no surprise here. Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin, who had that battle last year, and this will happen again probably. They're certainly the two favorites. You see some of the others there. I'll go all the way down to Ty Gibbs, though. Plus 1,200, that's 12 times your money. This young man has threatened to win here a couple of the last two races, and that win is going to come soon. Could it be tonight? And move on.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an authorized gaming operator of NASCAR, and this week, new customers can bet $5 and pocket $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use the promo code SPEED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. At plus 300, Kyle Larson won't pay a ton, but he's a smart bet. Right now, he's with Dylan Welch.
It is a 26-point buffer for Kyle Larson as it sits right now over the playoff cut line. Hendrick cars have track position early, and everybody needs and wants as many points as you can get. So how important is that early track position just to build that buffer more?
Yeah, it's definitely good. I mean, last year we started dead last, so nice to have the track position. Hopefully we can keep it, and it'd be great to get some stage points and have a smooth race, and have a shot to win, which I think we will. Our car is really fast, and I feel like we do a good job through traffic here. So just got to be smart tonight. It's a tough race.
Kyle Larson starts outside the front row.
It's not been a fantastic playoff so far for Kyle Larson. You got to think they need a good run tonight heading into one of their better racetracks at Kansas next week. We talked about the driver introductions. I want to play Kyle Busch's introduction for you, DJ. Listen in.
Starting 29.
I mean, what alternate universe are we living in? I heard zero boos for Kyle Busch. All cheers.
Did they mistake who that was coming out there? They started cheering before. I'm not sure.
All
That's
cheers
great to
for
hear.
Kyle Busch.
It all
This is
comes
crazy.
around.
Coming up next, one of the best anthems of the year. You don't want to miss it. Boy, Bristol delivers on so many levels. Track officials tell us around 100,000 fans tonight from all 50 states and 16 foreign countries. So, DJ, for drivers that appear to be safe, is there a concern they could play it too conservative tonight?
I'm hearing things I don't like. You start playing conservative, you'll find yourself racing around others that aren't going to be that, and then all of a sudden you're in the wall.
Sometimes thinking you have enough cushion can get you in trouble. Time for one of the best pre-race ceremonies of the year.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as you are able. Remove your hats, and veterans render a hand salute as Cherokee High School Junior ROTC Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer tonight's invocation, please welcome the discipleship pastor from Calvary Church in Johnson City, Tennessee, Derek Hudson.
Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this night. I thank you that your presence can be felt not just on a Sunday, but tonight in the joy and the celebration with our family and friends as we cheer on some of our favorite athletes. God, we ask for your hand of divine protection over these drivers as they compete tonight. And Father, lastly, I thank you for some of the most loyal and dedicated fans in all of the world. And we thank you for the greatest racetrack in all of the world, Bristol, Tennessee. Be with us tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome back children of the drivers and crews, longtime Bristol Motor Speedway tradition, the Motor Racing Outreach Kids.
Well done, kids. Just one of the many things that makes the Bristol Night Race so special. When we come back, we'll get the engines cranked for the first elimination race of the 2024 Cup Series playoffs from Thunder Valley, Bristol, Tennessee. Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sonic. Live free. Eat Sonic. 4 drivers are a few hours from their playoff run being over. But Dylan Welch at plus 46. Is Christopher Bell confident he'll advance to the next round?
Well, one goal at the start of the playoffs for the 20 team, Marty, was to come to Bristol not needing to points race to make the next round. They're in that spot pretty comfortably at plus 46, and as a result, they're going to try to just have some fun tonight. This is Christopher Bell's favorite race of the year. He said, I'm going to enjoy this night, and that is something that I'm going to cherish. A race car driver having fun is usually a fast one, Parker, and C. Bell is ready to chase his first Bristol win from the 6th starting spot.
That is a good time, Dylan. And for Alex Bowman, he comes in this race plus 41 above the cut line, so in a great position points-wise, but is sitting on the pole for the front of the field. He'll lead them to the green here tonight. This was a huge moment for the 48 team. It's been a year and a half of having to work on qualifying to improve it. They've started to do that as we got these summer months, and this was a statement made here yesterday where they were able to win the pole, his second at a non-drafting course in the NASCAR Cup Series. There's a ton of momentum for the 48 team, Kim.
Well, Parker, playoff driver Harrison Burton enters tonight's race 20 points below the elimination line. They know they need a big night here, and an uphill battle awaits them as they start 34th. The team told me there's not a good opportunity to earn stage points in the first stage, but if they can get stage points in stage 2, then they still feel like they have a shot to advance to the next round. They also reminded me anything can happen here, and if they stay out of trouble, Marty, there's a real opportunity here for them tonight.
So, DJ, since their season is on the line, are the rules a little more relaxed as what you can and cannot do to advance?
No, not really, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think I think it's a little more clear, but in today's world of NASCAR drivers, I don't know. I don't see somebody changing. And I'll just read quickly a quote from Martin Truex Jr. when asked what he might do yesterday. He said, look, you can't just wake up one day and say that you're going to drive through everyone. It's just not in your DNA. Yeah. He's going to race hard, but he's not going to wreck someone.
Listen, we found out at Richmond, you can wreck your mama, but you can't wreck somebody else out here, okay? And Austin Dillon proved that. I think there's a line there, and that line was drawn at Richmond. You can't wreck people to move forward here, not on purpose anyhow.
So, Kyle, as a playoff driver, how do you manage the chaos that is Bristol?
You know, the problem with chaos is things are out of your control. And for a lot of these drivers out here, or a handful of them anyhow, they're pulling in their hearts for some of those drivers that are already in to get up there and take those points and take those positions. So they can only control what they can control. They've got to go out and run their race.
Yeah, and controlling your emotions inside the car with everything that's going on. And, you know, we're going to see some things here with drivers getting upset. And something happened before this all took place. It's not the position you want to be in, but once you get out of there and you realize what has happened, you understand that controlling that inside the car is of utmost importance if you want to be around with an opportunity to win this race tonight.
So, Kyle, as we look at the playoff standings once again coming into the first cut race of the 2024 playoffs, is there a path where all of these drivers, maybe except Harrison Burton, can just point their way into the next round?
Listen, I'm going to say, after watching the Xfinity race last night, I'm not sure Harrison Burton's out either from a points perspective.
Yeah.
We saw some huge swings last night. So I think there's a way for everybody. But again, some of these guys that are below that cut line have to depend on those guys on the other side to have issues.
Yeah, I think you asked a question a while ago about what some are doing. Some people seem to have a lot of confidence in the little bit of buildup that they have in there. To go take advantage of that. Grab that right out from under it. And again, you don't know what's going to happen in this race, from the beginning to the middle to the end.
Kyle, I got to tell you, when this playoff started, you had Alex Bowman out of round 1. He's been the star of round 1 and on the pole tonight.
Listen.
What do they need to do this evening?
Listen, Alex Bowman needs to keep doing exactly what he says. Listen, anytime I pick him to be out in the first round, he goes to the Final Four. He goes all the way to almost guaranteed. So I am pulling for Alex Bowman tonight to continue this streak.
DJ, as a driver, would you consider the Bristol Night Race one of the crown jewel events for the Cup Series?
100%. I mean, it is a race that when you become a Cup driver and get the opportunity to do this on a regular basis, Bristol Trophy and this victory lane is where you want to end up one night.
One of the biggest wins on the line tonight of the entire year. And also, does your postseason continue or not? We're about to find out. Let's get the engines cranked at Bristol.
Let's get ready to rumble!
And now, here to say the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome Bass Pro Shops founder and noted conservationist Johnny Morris, CEO of the Army and Air Force Exchange Tom Shull, civilian aide to the Secretary of the U.S. Army Rick Morris, and Bass Pro Shops Helping a Hero 100 Home Challenge Ambassador, Staff Sergeant retired Shiloh Harris. They are joined by representatives of the more than 4,000 Bass Pro Shops veteran outfitters across North America.
Hey, on behalf of all of us at Bass Pro, we are so proud to have the opportunity to sponsor the Great American Night Race, and we're really proud to dedicate this race to all those who defend our freedoms and to America's hunters and anglers, our nation's true conservationists. And one last thing, happy birthday, Richard Childress. Start your engine!
All right, crank it when you're ready. All right, you can fire up when you're ready.
Time to cut the playoff field from 16 to 12. The green flag for the night race at Bristol is next, right here on USA.
Running Bristol at night is a beautiful thing, but man, it can sure get ugly.
Back up, say high. Oh, damn, man, holy crap.
High banks means high drama.
Kind of a chicken move that he did there at the end.
And the last chance to advance means the stakes are high.
Rising and responding to this demand is what racing is all about.
They say it's a fight amongst gladiators, or it's like a tornado in a teacup.
Some look at it in a more calculated fashion.
Newton's second law of motion. Force equals mass times acceleration.
And all of us will spend all night,
500 laps, to put together that winning formula.
I beat your favorite driver.
No matter how you try to define the spectacle, there's only one way to describe it.
It's Bristol, baby.
Bristol night, baby!
It takes so much to win at Bristol. That's why a win here means so much. You know, NASCAR Cup Series was founded on Saturday night short track racing, so there is no better place to hold the first cutoff race of the playoffs than the night race at Bristol. 500 demanding, exhausting, and frustrating laps. This short track has a long history of breaking drivers' hearts, and tonight it'll do it again as 4 teams will be eliminated from the postseason after a year's worth of work, Kim.
Yeah, Marty, this is one of the most physical tracks on the circuit. Things happen so quickly here. You'll hear drivers say they have to remind themselves to breathe. That's because emotions are high, tempers are short as playoff drivers try to get one step closer to this championship trophy, Parker.
And Kim, Bristol is known as the last great Coliseum because it's the closest thing in the motorsports world to gladiatorial battle. Why? Because that 28 degrees of banking behind me and the bumpy concrete surface that will pummel these drivers over 500 laps. As these drivers get done with this race, they'll feel like they've been in a washing machine for 3 hours because of the brutality that is this racetrack, Dylan.
Parker, fast is the name of the game at Bristol. You need a fast race car. You need fast pit stops, too. And if you're not fast, you'll lose time in positions on pit road very fast. Being quick but mistake-free on pit road to be the difference in making the next round of the playoffs or not.
The roar in Thunder Valley tonight will be colossal because there's so much on the line. The intensity of the playoffs gets raised significantly in Tennessee tonight with the first elimination race. It's Bristol at night, so hold on tight. NBC Sports welcomes you to the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Bristol Motor Speedway. It is the Bass Pro Shops Night Race, America's night race. Hi folks, lovely to have you with us. Welcome to Bristol Motor Speedway. Lee Diffie, Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte. Are you ready to go? We almost are. Jeff, you've been coming here for decades. You have won this race. What do the folks at home need to know about Bristol?
Well, it is one of the most prestigious races in all of motorsports. You want to win this race so badly because it's one of the most difficult in the world to win. And the only thing you can expect every single time is the unexpected. You don't know who's going to be mad at who. You don't know what a driver's going to do, but they're willing to do a lot to win this race.
Stevie, the walls are closing in as far as the playoffs pressure. It gets ratcheted up tonight.
There's nothing better in sports than the postseason because of that pressure, and that's what these drivers are going to feel. Superstars are made with those that can take the pressure and advance, those that can step up and reach the moment. Who will exceed? Who will fold? Who will fail? It's all on the line tonight.
And all those questions will be answered over 500 laps. It is going to be quite the night here in Tennessee. Let's take a look at the starting grid for you for tonight's playoff race, brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. And you're going to hear us say that a lot tonight. A very proud sponsor of this event, and it was a proud moment for Hendrick Motorsports' Alex Bowman to get his first pole of the 24 season yesterday. He did it in spectacular style. In fact, all of the Hendrick cars were strong, and he shares the front row with a teammate, Kyle Larson.
You look at farther back in the field, Ty Gibbs, Reddick, those playoff drivers, their names in blue, but other drivers. How about a Chris Buescher, a winner a week ago back in row 9? Will another playoff driver upset this? Or maybe Logano, who's already locked in back in row 10. He's the one driver pressure-free.
See Ryan Blaney all the way back in row 11. Got a lot of work to do. Brad Keselowski, he also has a lot of work to do. Austin Cindric having a great playoffs, row 14.
Jeff, you mentioned Austin Cindric, all 3 Team Penske drivers. So you got the guy who's locked in Logano, Cindric, who's been terrific in the 2 playoff races so far, and the reigning series champion Ryan Blaney were 20th or worse. It was not a great qualifying yesterday. Marty, that theme rings true for Daniel Suarez as well. He's starting from further back than where he'd like to be.
Yeah, indeed it does. He's been one of the stars to this point in round 1, but he knew Bristol would be one of his biggest challenges, and you mentioned it, starting 3rd to last, 35th in the field. Suarez told me they made several changes to the car, hoping to find some speed for tonight. But Parker, we'll see if Daniel Suarez's 36-point cushion is enough to advance him to the next round.
And it's a similar sentiment for William Byron and the 24 team coming to this race 25 points above the cut line. Remember, they made the championship 4 last year, but they learned some things that playoffs. His crew chief Rudy Fugel told me, you know, last year we got in the first round, we thought of it almost like a formality. We tried to just ease our way through. He said, this year though, we've come in the first round in championship form with a championship mindset that we learned as we got further in the playoffs last year. He said that's the mindset that'll get us through tonight. We just need a solid night, Kim.
Parker, playoff driver Chase Briscoe scored 33 points last weekend at Watkins Glen. An outstanding day for the team that puts them +6 coming into tonight's elimination race. Chase told me he feels like he and the team have real momentum coming into tonight, and that showed up yesterday as he qualified in the 5th position. Another thing working in the team's favor, they did the test here over the summer and feel like that gave them a really good idea of what they needed here this weekend, Dylan.
Kim, Chase Elliott is another driver whose points buffer as it sits now seems big enough, but they know that can disappear in a hurry. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson told me today, we just need to take advantage of every single chance we can to add to our points. It'll help them tonight to make it through round 1, but also next round in round 2, where there's plenty of more wild card moments looming, Diff.
We've got beautiful weather here in Tennessee this evening for this all-important elimination race, cutoff race, however you want to describe it. And we told you right when the playoffs began about the first 3 races and the variables, from Atlanta Motor Speedway to Watkins Glen last weekend, which was simply wild, to this. I want to tell you something that we were mentioning off air. Jeff and Steve and myself were just talking on camera about what do you need to know at home. And Jeff said, I've been coming here for so long, I don't know what we don't know, because that's the beauty of Bristol. It's so the variables are so great. As we take you inside the 6 of Brad Keselowski for the pre-race pep talk.
Have fun tonight. Stay focused. You know how to do it here. Just pick them off one at a time. Let us know what you need throughout the race. Put it all together here, man. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything. Let's go have a great night. We can do this.
I like the attitude. That's the last thing I want to hear. We can do this. I don't want to hear about protecting points or being conservative. This is a track that you succeed by attacking. Who can find their way by attacking comfortably for 500 laps.
What a sight. What a scene under the lights here at Bristol Motor Speedway. As the saying goes, it's Bristol, baby, so let's go! Alex Bowman continues his amazing playoffs run. He has been stoic in the face of criticism, and the Hendrick man leads this race early. Christopher Bell up on that higher line. and tucks back in behind William Byron. Martin Truex Jr., fellas, this is a must-do, must-win, must-have a great result night.
And you see how aggressive he is. He saw a hole he could drive into to keep from getting blocked on the outside. He immediately took it from William Byron.
Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, that white number 11, the red 9, kind of stuck on the second lane. Preferred lane early in this race, right around the bottom of that high banks. They're kind of being patient. Denny climbing the hill to see if there's any more grip up there as they both continue to lose just a few spots. On board with Ty Gibbs, that Monster Energy camera. Another playoff driver, a car that was very good in the spring.
Caution is out.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. Yellow's out.
John Hunter Nemechek, he was having issues down the back straightaway. Looks like a left rear tire may be low. He got really loose, ended up spinning out.
And look at that, yeah, look at that right rear.
Yeah, he had trouble off of 2. He had trouble off of 2, and then ultimately whatever happened to the car spun contact.
Pretty significant contact too. Right there, it looks like all the tires are still inflated. I was trying to see if that right rear might have gone down beforehand. Oh, right there. What do we got there? A little contact. Hard to tell what. Oh, man, he's still chasing it, isn't he, Jeff?
Yeah, they got stacked up. I think he got really high in 1 and 2 and got up against the wall and you know, maybe cut a tire, maybe damaged the right rear toe link, something.
You may notice his teammate Eric Jones there trying to take evasive action. Kaz Grala did a nice job, and look at John Hunter Nemechek just trying to manage this thing back to pit road.
That shows you how difficult Bristol is. Nobody wants to be in an incident this early in the race, but you know, when you're trying to push and make something happen and come from the back, you have to push your car. You got to be giving it 100%. If you overstep your bounds any at all, these types of things happen.
Alex Bowman had only led 3 laps in all of his appearances here at Bristol. He's already exceeded that early on. Nice start. Tonight, Bass Pro Shops has chosen the night race to proudly announce their new partnership as the official outdoor gear supplier for the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, providing gear for active duty service members and honourable discharge veterans. Bass Pro Shops is honoured to employ over 4,000 veteran outfitters. This genuine, long-standing commitment stems from the respect of founder Johnny Morris holds for his father, John A. Morris, a decorated veteran who proudly served in World War II and the Battle of the Bulge. As a proud sponsor since 2016, Bass Pro Shops salutes active duty and veteran military heroes. And Johnny was here tonight to help with the command and to get us off to a great start on a wonderful night, on a very important night in the scheme of this 2024 NASCAR Cup Series and the playoffs.
Yeah, Johnny Morris and Bass Pro Shops, long-standing partner of a lot of teams in NASCAR, big supporter.
Parker?
Well, guys, it's only 10 laps into us, but it's never too early to start working on the drive inside that race car. Take a listen to the 48 radio.
When you go to pick up the gas, you're like 3 to 5 miles an hour faster than 2 guys behind you. They beat you a little bit on exit just because we overroll that middle. So I think everything you're doing is fine. Just watch your entries just a tick. Coming back to you will help that throttle up.
We're getting ready for the restart. Lights are out on the pace car as it ducks down, back down onto the apron. Let's get this thing going again after an early caution caused by John Hunter Nemechek. It's Hendrick Motorsports up the front. Martin Truex Jr. takes the fight to Kyle Larson.
Ty Gibbs pops out 3 wide, about 5 rows back, gets back in line, gets organized.
There's the 77 on the low side. Carson Hocevar, the 21-year-old, following on from his top 3 result last weekend at Watkins Glen in the Spire Motorsports Chevy. Unreal. Qualified on the front row at Darlington, and here he is running at the front of the field, Jeff, at Bristol. Awesome.
Yeah, what a great feeling for a young man to be running this well, to be doing it here, but you got to know this is a long race.
Bubba Wallace in that red and white Mobil 1 sponsored Toyota. Let's go aboard with thanks to Monza. Ty Gibbs, last 2 races here for the youngster have been pretty special. Both top 10 results. He could be a player tonight.
That's what he needs. Comes in just barely above the cut line, 6 points above. You mentioned those 2 runs, Diff. That's what they're looking for. A good, solid run to advance in the playoffs.
Comes up around his teammate Denny Hamlin. Denny and crew chief Chris Gahab, a lot of positivity, a lot of confidence despite the position that they're in the playoff standings.
Yeah, look at Ty Gibbs in that black 54 car on the outside. Look at the corner entry speed he's able to carry. In the middle, the bottom is better. But watch this right here. Watch the 7 car. Just can't keep the pace, but through the middle, the 7 rolls better. Now the 54 starts to build a little more momentum on corner exit. You're going to see this change all night long. This racetrack changes more than any other racetrack. At some point tonight, the bottom's going to be the best, and it's going to go to the top. It'll keep moving around. As a driver, you have to be on top of that.
There's the 7 up ahead. We gave some props to Carson Hocevar. Well, his teammate at Spire, Corey LaJoie, is coming off his 3rd top 10 of the year. And if you didn't catch the news, yesterday it was announced that Corey, as of the next race, next weekend at Kansas, will be making a team swap. He's headed to Rick Ware Racing, and Justin Haley is coming to Spire.
I've done that. I've switched teams midstream, middle of the year. It's a challenge. Very difficult to know the personnel, built to know you. That will be difficult for both of these drivers.
Let's talk more about the 7. Here's Kim Kuhn.
Yeah, as we talk about Corey LaJoie and the move he's making starting next week to Rick Ware Racing, I asked how that's affected his race this weekend with Spire Motorsports, and he said, honestly, since he announced he was leaving earlier in the summer, the flow of resources and info has been different since that announcement. He also said the playoff drivers have eaten up the sim time, so that is meaning that what he's been able to do here this weekend and last weekend means even more because of those lack of resources, Marty.
Kim, we talked about in the pre-race, Denny Hamlin coming in below the cut line 6 points, but you mentioned it a moment ago, Diff, the confidence this 11 team has coming to Bristol, where they are a 4-time winner at this racetrack. In fact, immediately after the Watkins-Glen race was over, Chris Gabehart told Denny, we're going to our house next week. But Jeff, this is Bristol. This is 500 laps at the Bristol night race. How can the 11 team have so much confidence they'll advance at the end of the night?
They win. When they come here, they win races. They constantly run in the front, and that is what builds confidence.
Going for the hat trick of wins is the 11. Meanwhile, the race leader is going for the kill. Alex Bowman has already just about caught Josh Bilicki and is about to begin the lapping process. There's the margin right there.
Yeah, that happens quickly. 15 green flag laps on this run, and they've caught the back of the pack. And 2 playoff drivers, Harrison Burton, Daniel Suarez, and actually Keselowski and Cindric, they're not far from the leader.
And I know we haven't seen any issues this weekend, but this is the same Goodyear tire we had in the spring diff.
That's right.
That had a ton of wear, forcing cars to pit under green. It was a chaos-type race. There's confidence that the warmer weather should improve that. The teams have improved it. The drivers understand it, but it's still in the back of everyone's mind. It's in the back of my mind. Only 28 laps into the race. We still have 98 to go in this stage. Can this pace around the bottom, can this tire withstand this pace?
Yeah, we didn't see any issues in practice, right? Nothing. But they didn't in the spring either.
Right.
And then chaos erupted.
And you'll notice that color change on the low line here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Yesterday, there was some resin, some grip resin put down. That was 4 feet in width. And then earlier today, they put down some more product, the PJ1 product, for just 2 feet out from that bottom line. So we'll see what kind of impact that has as the race goes on, as far as we talk more about tire degradation, grip levels, etc. As we take you back and show you something that went down just recently with Kyle Busch.
Yeah, contact. Kyle Busch has fallen all the way back to 33rd place.
Yeah, you want to know what kind of year it is for Kyle Busch? Kyle Busch running 33rd at Bristol. The man's won here 8 times, over 20 in the top 3 series, 8 in Cup alone.
The Cheddar's on board, showing us now he's got a little bit of a fight on his hands. Meanwhile, low line versus high line. The 2 teammates from Hendrick Motorsports, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson.
Yeah, we see this every race here. The bottom's great for a little bit, then the top starts to come in. Kyle Larson willing to be the first guy to the top in the front. No surprise, he's comfortable up there, loves running the top.
Is that earlier than you thought, or about on time?
Yeah, it's about on time. And, you know, look, at the back of the pack is really when it starts. Like, guys in the back, you know, they have no choice. They got to start looking for something different. Spotters see it working. They let the front runners know, and then they start getting up there. But it's starting to swing. That's where you need to go.
Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Martin Truex Jr., then William Byron.
The key to this race is to be able to do both. You know, whatever lane is the best, you have to be good in, but you can't be married to it. If you can't leave that lane and go to whatever the alternate lane is to complete passes, you're only as good as the car in front of you, because he's not going to give up that position.
Yeah, you see, they're starting to catch the back of the pack, right? So, to your point, Steve, even though these may be a lap car, they're still decent race cars. And this field is stacked of good drivers and good race cars. You got to find something different. These won't be easy passes. It'll be harder to pass for Kyle Larson than you would assume.
All right, with thanks to Bass Pro Shops, we're going to keep this camera angle, which is awesome, and take you for a ride. A lap's only 16 seconds. Can you spare that for us? Here we go.
Got 4 guys behind right now, starting to work that top. We got a good gap here if you just want to fill it out.
It's great information. We have a good gap here if you want to fill it out. What that means is, if it doesn't work, now's the time to figure it out, because no one is going to put pressure on you and take the spot away.
Let's talk about Christopher Bell. Bell runs in 6th at the moment. Dylan, tell us more.
He was paying attention a couple laps ago to what was going on all the way at the front of the field. Take a listen to the radio.
Keep me posted on the 5 time. So far, it's getting close, but he's not quicker yet.
And the thing that he was wanting to know was how effective Larson was on the high side. Crew Chief Adam Stevens said before the race, we're optimized for the top, but with this PJ1 on the bottom, we're going to have the tune on it on the bottom early. Bell got to the top right away.
Christopher Bell, who has won here on the dirt, the clay surface. He said, I'll tell you what tonight's going to be. Nothing short of crazy. We've only had one caution so far, but there's already been some good racing contact there between Larson and John Hunter Nemechek.
That's what we talked about. John Hunter he's 6 laps down. He was in that first wreck, but he is not going to give up. And you see how difficult it is to pass. And while that battle is going on, in front of him is Haley in that 15 car. I'm sorry, it's Kaz Grala in that 15 car, and that would not be an easy pass either.
As we sneak off to break, let's show you what went down. Watch the 42 and the 5. Not too bad, but you never want to see it. That QR code to the right of your screen, scan it now and get charged up during the NASCAR playoffs with a chance to win an all-electric 2024 Ford F-150 Lightning Flash, or visit NASCAR.com/Ford Playoffs promo to enter. And good luck as we welcome you back to some good old-fashioned Saturday night short track racing under the lights. In the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, it's the Bass Pro Night Race here in Bristol, and Kyle Larson, with the laps that he has led so far tonight, that pushes his total here at this track north of 900 laps led in his Cup career. And he is at the top of that order as well for the 2024 season. The 5 has been strong despite the setbacks, and despite him coming into this playoff race, this crucial playoff race, a little lower up in the playoff standings than where he would like with what went down at Watkins Glen last weekend and the big crash in Atlanta. Steve, strong start from Truex.
Very strong, but that's really been the signature of their year. It's not been speed, it's not been slow starts to races. It's been execution, luck, some of their own doing, some of the others doing. You know, this team really, it turned cold. The faucet turned off when the playoffs started a year ago. This was a team that was so good last year, made the playoffs, everything went away. Look at the last 7 finishes. That does not look like the future Hall of Famer that Martin Truex Jr. is. In his last full-time season, I know James Small would love to put him back in victory lane. That's Truex's crew chief. He would love to first advance out of this round, and he's going to have a really good night to do that tonight. I love this right here. This is a camera angle taking a peek. We got a peek on a fuel pit boxes. That's James Small right there, hand up on the headset, talking to either his team or to Truex. They have intercom as well. You see the attention, the nerves, a little bit of fidget. Diff, I know you know James well. You know, I think talking to him, he's lighthearted, but he feels the pressure. He knows what's on the line.
Yeah, for sure. And he said so too. It's been noticeable in the last little while with Martin. He's ticked up the intensity, spent a lot of time on the sim this week, fully engaged to make these playoffs and this playoff run continue in his last full-time season in Cup.
You see right here, Kyle Larson, he has caught Daniel Suarez. Daniel's struggling just a little bit. He's lost several spots in the last few laps. He's running the bottom. Kyle Larson running the top. Suarez still going to the bottom. Daniel's just not happy with his car right now. If you go a lap down in this race, Steve, it doesn't mean your day is over. There's a lot of racing left to go. You got to keep fighting hard.
Yeah, 1 lap down is kind of status quo sometimes at Bristol, right? You just don't want to get to 2 down. You mentioned Suarez. A little surprised he didn't move up to the top, Marty. That's where the 5 really loves to be. I thought that would be more defensive.
Steve, they asked him a couple of laps ago, can you try to run the top? That's where Larson is making up all of his time. And he said, I just can't run the top. I don't know what to tell you. I talked to Matt Swiderski, his crew chief, this afternoon, and he said, we knew coming in this would be our toughest track of the playoffs. That's why we focused so much on building as many points as we could in the first 2 races. They built up a 36-point cushion. But, Steve, with the speed that they have, going down a lap this early, just 66 laps into the race, how concerned are you right now if you're Matt Swiderski with what the 99 has?
Well, unfortunately, when you have speed like the 99 currently has, it's no longer in your hands, Diff. Right now, you need other drivers to not perform at their best. He's currently 1 point above because he's running in the 31st position. If that's all they can muster, it's not an effort thing, right? They're trying. But if that's all they can muster, then they need help. You never want to depend on other drivers to kind of give you points. You want to go out and earn them yourself.
By the way, as you see, a good scrap going on here between Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe. Don't forget that just up the road from Daniel Suarez is Harrison Burton and Brad Keselowski, 2 fellow playoff drivers who also have Kyle Larson really closing in tightly on them. They'll be fighting hard to stay on the lead lap. So there's Eric Jones. He's going to go down a lap here. Larson on the inside, or momentarily. Kyle Busch, Harrison Burton, Brad Keselowski are the next ones on Larson's list.
Yeah, Harrison's picked up 5 spots since the start of this race, since the restart. And now he's a little quicker than Keselowski, but I think Kyle Busch is a little quicker than both of them. So Harrison trying the bottom, because you're not going to pass him on the top. Keselowski just isn't going to give it to him. And this is where it gets really difficult, Steve, trying to make these passes at Bristol with that outside working.
Yeah, because as he's committed to pass the 6, you see the 8 close in, and when he fills that hole on the back bumper of the 6, then the 21 is stuck at the bottom. Now, fortunately for these two, Kyle Busch and Eric Jones are doing their job. They have the top occupied. They told Kyle Larson, we're not even going to give you the time of day. You can have the bottom every corner, every lap, and we're sure you're going to get by us, but it's going to take multiple laps.
52 to go in the opening stage here in the Bass Pro Shops night race. And Kyle Larson, after watching teammate Alex Bowman start from the pole, has been the class of the field, leading 41 laps so far.
The reason the frustrations build at the short track is not just the close confines and the pushing and the shoving. It's what we see right here off the rear bumper of the Cheddar's cam of Kyle Busch. Kyle Larson is passing Eric Jones 3 inches at a time, and that is so tedious. These are guys that normally kind of catch you, make a pass, and go by. Now, Kyle Larson's going to work on the 8. Watch how many laps this takes for him to work up next to the 8, with the 8 carrying this momentum from running the top.
49 to go. Things are moving fast here on a Saturday night in Bristol. It was Joey Logano in Atlanta who got off to the ideal start in the playoffs. Watkins Glen was simply wild, and it stamped its mark on these playoffs. What's Bristol got in store for us tonight? You can sign up for the NASCAR newsletter and stay up to speed on all the latest from the track and get your chance to win 2 tickets to a race next year in the 2025 schedule. Just scan the QR code or visit nascar.com/race ticket promo to enter. As we are rapidly racing our way through stage 1 here, and tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by Traveller Whiskey. What a sight it is here in Thunder Valley. The night race at Bristol. Fellas, what a sight. Brings a smile to everybody's face. As we check in with Kim Coon, what's the latest, Kim?
Yeah, early issue 4 playoff driver Chase Briscoe currently running in the 6th position. Take a listen to the radio.
So you know my rear view camera is now. 10-4. I'll take the best picture I can.
So Chase Briscoe, without his rear view camera, you heard his spotter Joe Campbell say, "I'll try and paint the best picture." But Steve, Jeff, what a detriment not to have that information. How big of a deal is this for Chase Briscoe?
Well, it is a big deal because with that digital camera, it paints a very clear picture, not just of what's behind the car, but it does a great job of showing you if you are clear on the left or the right side. And the spotter may call you clear and you're not. You can use that camera and you can make the call. It is way better than a mirror has ever been, and it is a tool that drivers can use to protect the position, and without it, you are really at a deficit.
How about this for confidence, Stevie? Chase Briscoe said, look, up until Darlington, people thought that I wasn't going to make the playoffs. I win Darlington, then I get caught up in that crash in Atlanta. And he said, I'm not focusing on making it through to the round of 12. I think I can win the whole thing. For a guy who wasn't meant to be in there, I have that much belief.
Well, they gained 27 points on the field, basically, at Watkins Glen with the run they had there, which vaulted them from the basement to 11th in points, giving them a real fighting chance here as we ride on board with Ty Gibbs, putting some pressure on his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate, the 11 of Denny Hamlin. And I think that's the right attitude. I love what Chase Briscoe says. I love how Richard Boswell is coaching him along. When I talk to crew chiefs, I hear a lot of, well, we just want to be okay, and we just wanted this, and we just wanted that. They sound like engineers, not leaders. When I hear Richard Boswell, he says, we're going to go do this. When I hear what Chase Briscoe says, he says, I believe I can. And I think that's the first thing. You got to sell it to yourself in the mirror before you can try to convince everyone else on your team, more or less, the other competitors on the racetrack. There's Richard Boswell right there. Remember the pressure on Stewart-Haas Racing. If you haven't followed all summer, this is an organization that is shutting down. They are not going to exist. There'll be one Cup car run out of the same building, but different ownership. The other one's completely gone away. Employees looking for work, drivers moving on, Chase Briscoe moving on. So, you know, that's a lot of outside pressure. We talk about pressure of the playoffs. This is real life pressure for these employees that are having a change of careers.
So Richard Boswell sitting beside race engineer Mike Cook there. It's a really close-knit organization, and they were thrilled. Darlington was amazing. It gave the entire organization such a boost. As you see, the 5 of Kyle Larson about to put fellow playoff driver and a multi-time winner here in Bristol, Brad Keselowski, a lap down.
And Brad wants to hold him up for all he can with 28 to go in this stage, Jeff. You know, there's a little gap in front of them. Even if he gets past, but it takes 15 laps or 20 laps, could be the free pass. That could be a big difference between now and where he finishes the end of the night.
And Brad has good pace. Brad continually is having 5th, 7th, 8th place speed. So he's not running great, Marty, but he's pretty decent.
Yeah, Jeff, who would have thought that we had this early in the Bristol race? Less than 100 laps in, and Brad Keselowski possibly going down a lap. As you watch Kyle Larson try to put a lap on him, thanks to Castro on the onboard camera. Keselowski saying, I cannot run the bottom of the racetrack. My car is just way too tight, shattering off the corner. So, Jeff, when you're in this situation, you know you don't have the pace. Even though you finished well in the spring, he finished 3rd here for Keselowski. How frustrating is this, and helpless is that feeling behind the wheel?
Well, so I think what you have to do is not get frustrated at what your car cannot do. You have to take advantage of what it can do. And what that means is get 100% out of this car, and he's doing it. He's been able to keep Kyle Larson behind him. Clearly, Kyle has a faster race car, but Brad is maximizing his car's capability at the moment, and that's all you can do as a driver. Tell him what it needs to do better, but you cannot quit. You just got to keep making the best lap time you can.
Getting close to the end of stage 1. 22 laps to go from here. Make it 21. And points as they run. Ty Gibbs, in just his second year in Cup Series competition, is in that all-important 12th position.
With so much great entertainment out there, wouldn't it be easier if you could find what you want all in one place?
My favorites.
I just want quality stuff that lasts more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, join the club. Oh.
And if I don't like it, I can return it. No questions asked.
Yeah, join the club.
I want someone who negotiates low prices for me.
Like some sort of savings wizard?
Exactly.
Join the club.
Seriously, join the club and find quality products at incredible prices. Savings wizard.
Sam's Club has saved members over $100 million this year with price reductions. See site for details.
Welcome to Applebee's. Can I interest you in America's favorite boneless wings for just 50 cents each?
I'll have the 50-cent bone.
Cover your mouth. They could steal your order.
I'll have the 50-cent boneless wings.
I'll have the same.
Perfect. They'll never see it coming.
50-cent boneless wings all day, every day. Only at Applebee's.
This is what being a NASCAR fan is all about. Singular history and tradition.
Everybody for coming out. This is so special.
Unmatched on-track intensity.
We gotta go.
And triple-header playoffs action to ratchet up the stakes. Throw in a can't-miss concert, camping, and the legendary atmosphere of Talladega Boulevard. And you've got more than a race. You've got Talladega. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Welcome back, 12 to go in stage one. You're watching the Bass Pro Shops night race here in Bristol. Under the lights and proudly boasting those Bass Pro Shops logos is Martin Truex Jr. fighting to stay in the playoffs. And look at this, his two teammates either side of Chase Briscoe. Ty Gibbs was a loser that time out. Denny Hamlin right up near the wall. Briscoe stuck in the middle.
How about the three wide action?
Awesome.
I tell you, that was aggressive driving, but they all were really smart about it.
10 to go inside the top 10. Points will be paid at the end of the stage. So all of these positions, Hamlin, Gibbs, Briscoe, those are points moving around. Remember, it's a points battle. Gibbs 6 above, Hamlin 6 below, Briscoe just a little bit above that, 25 above. So they're counting points in only 9 more laps.
The only driver that's in the top 10 that's not in the playoffs is Bubba Wallace. Look at this battle.
8 to go in stage one. Kyle Larson has been putting on a clinic here tonight. He's led 85 laps, has been ripping his way through the field, has lapped all the way up to 23rd of this 37-car field. There is no stopping this HendrickCars.com Chevy. Low line, high line, he's been making moves. He is just smooth. And fellas, there's been no reports, no major reports of any significant tire wear or degradation.
Yeah, some cars look like the handling has gone away, but remember in the spring it went away so bad the cars had to come to pit road, the rubber completely gone. We've now run 109 green flag laps consecutive, 114 on these tires, and all cars still have air in them and still on the racetrack.
I'll tell you something else too, I love the racetrack right now. The top works, the bottom works. Good job on the prep.
After a couple of tough races, these stage points are going to be sweet for Kyle Larson. Exactly what he was after here. It's been a good, positive opening stint for the 11 of Denny Hamlin. He needed that, and at the moment he stays in that 12th and final position, but it's so early on.
Ty Gibbs knows that 378 laps from now, this one position could be the difference, right? Yeah. This is a point. He's going to race it as such. I mean, he's trying it the best he can. You bring up Larson, Diff. You know, we talk a lot about Denny Hamlin because he's below the cut line, which shocked probably most of us. But Larson is only 26 above coming into this race. He has not had the smoothest playoffs as well. So these 10 playoff points will definitely be a little bit of insurance. No guarantees, but a little pressure off Cliff Daniels, Kyle Larson, and the 5 team.
Half a mile to go, less than that until the end of stage 1. And this will be the 11th stage win this year for the 5 of Kyle Larson. That was convincing. That was a statement. His teammate Alex Bowman follows him across. Christopher Bell, that was a really solid first stage as well, after he started on the 3rd row with Chase Briscoe. Martin Truex Jr. gets those all-important points as well from the first stage. And pre-race ceremonies, what a sight. So many things to enjoy, and remember, the kids did a terrific job with the national anthem as well. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops, voted America's best outdoor retailer. Credit One Bank NASCAR American Express card. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Well, I can say, if you're looking to go somewhere and you've never been here, please come next time, next year. It is amazing.
Your first trip here, a little pace car ride yesterday.
Who gave me that pace car ride, Mr. Burton? Thanks very much for that. Steve and I have enjoyed that this year. It is my first time, and I've had the pleasure and the fortune of calling races all around the world. This has blown my mind. It's incredible, and I always wanted to come to the night race. My work schedule never allowed it, so for my first time here to be calling the race, it's everything that I expected and more.
Pit road's going to open this time by. Everybody will come to service of their crews. Pit crews valuable, adjustments valuable, all of those things. That's how you can get behind in a race, either having a mistake on pit road or the wrong adjustments. Dylan.
Maybe the best car of the final third of that first stage was Christopher Bell. Said, as we went, we got better, but we have a vicious tail wag off the corner. They'll fix that with air pressure, 4 tires and fuel, Cam.
Stage 1 winner Kyle Larson on the bottom of your screen said balance is really good, especially on the bottom. Free up top, but he said, I kind of feel like you have to be asked for no adjustments, 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Chase Briscoe in the middle, really loose center off, free end, lacking rear lateral off the turns, Marty.
Kim, when you start the night 6 points behind, 5 stage points for Denny Hamlin, could be a game changer. He said he was really good in the middle of the run, a little too free at the end. He said if you make changes, don't make them big, Parker.
Marty, for Martin Truex Jr., who finished 4th in that stage, he said he was actually too free and wearing out the right rear tire of that 19 car. And then for Alex Bowman, the bottom of your screen, finished 2nd that stage. He was starting to get free in and commented that the tires were starting to feel like basketballs. Kyle Larson will win the race off pit road.
He sure does, Parker. Christopher Bell continues his positivity after a great first stage. To Dylan's point, he makes that progress. Bristol, Tennessee. And yes, one of the unique characteristics of this, right on the state lines of Tennessee and Virginia. And like I said earlier, if you've never been, make the effort to visit.
Well, welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. All summer long, state lotteries have been giving Powerball players the chance to win NASCAR VIP experiences at tracks across the country, all leading up to the NASCAR Powerball Playoff $1 million drawing at Phoenix Raceway. Here's a look at the 12 lottery players advancing in the National Powerball promotion. Follow along throughout the playoffs for 2 more elimination drawings at Charlotte and Martinsville, all culminating at Championship Weekend in Phoenix. Powerball, the official lottery game of NASCAR.
Thanks, Kim, and good luck to everybody who has entered that already. Now, while we're away, got the news from Race Control. There's been a penalty handed to Joe Gibbs Racing's Ty Gibbs. He had a really solid opening stage, but this is going to hurt the playoff driver.
Yeah, speeding in section 6. So Bristol pit road is forever, right? Entrance is in turn 2, exit is in turn 1. So this is Ty's stall over here, right? So pit road is the timing lines, and they kind of go around right here. And what you have to be careful of is when you run, this is a big, high radius. Well, he pits here, and if he comes out really low, you could shortcut the corner. This is the section that he was too fast in. So we heard on the radio him say, hey, I was too red, right? Well, when he pulls out, if he goes like that, that's just a small wedge he's going through. So the team's going to have to look at what radius he ran versus the lights. Either way, the penalty's costly. They just don't want to do it again. So you see right here, this is his onboard. He's just very, very low in the corner. Nothing jumps out to me. That's what I would expect a driver to do. So they'll just have to adjust it as they go.
Let's go, stage 2. On the inside in that bright yellow and black, number 20, Christopher Bell puts the pressure to Kyle Larson. Alex Bowman, Martin Truex Jr. That light blue and white car. We haven't spoken much about William Byron. Been a source of frustration for Byron that he's never led laps here, never had a pole, never won. He said, I'd love one of those dominant cars, Jeff, at Bristol, where I could be the guy up the front.
Yeah, it's so much more fun when you're out front rather than being in this mess. Little contact. Bubba Wallace.
We haven't really spoken a lot about Bubba. He too was in the top 10 pretty much all of stage 1. He told me yesterday that, he said, I want you to take this the right way. Of course I wanted to be in the playoffs. But by not being in the playoffs, Steve, it's almost taken a little bit of pressure off me where I can have some more fun. And who knows, I might be able to free up and get a win.
Yeah, well, it's good talking point, but what you really want to be is right in the heat of the battle.
And he said that. He did say that.
Yes. But I do agree. Listen, I think Bubba Wallace has, you know, he's continued to improve. I know that the goal was to make the playoffs. He's disappointed he wasn't in it. But I agree with your assessment that, right, you know, how are we going to perform? How would we perform if we were in the playoffs? You can still rank yourself. Even if the score isn't kept by NASCAR, you can internally keep the score. And I think that's what's required as he jumps to the outside of William Byron. Pretty sporty little move right there out of the 23. I think this top is better than we think, Jeff. New tires, normally the bottom dominates, but look at the 23. He jumps up there. Denny Hamlin sees it. He goes up a little defensive and a little because I think there's more speed.
Parker, what you got?
Well, Lee, you alluded to it, the pressure taken off that 23 team. I spoke to crew chief Rudy Barker, and he said, you know, the goals now that we're not in the playoffs is to simply get the best finishes possible and to go win a race. We look now, he is the highest running.
More speed.
Parker, what you got?
Well, Lee, you alluded to it, the pressure taken off that 23 team. I spoke to crew chief Rudy Barker, and he said, you know, the goals now that we're not in the playoffs is to simply get the best finishes possible and to go win a race. We look now, he is the highest running non-playoff driver in this race. And they actually, I sat in a little bit of a pre-race chat between him and Bubba, and he said to Bubba, you know, there's times in a race you can kind of lay off and sort of take care of the car. He said, we're not doing any of that anymore. We want to go hard from lap 1 to the end of the race and get everything we can each and every lap we're in this race is because we have a chance to go out there and do something spectacular. It's obviously running really well right now.
Chase Briscoe around the outside of William Byron. To your point, Steve, that high line early on in this stage.
You can see how aggressive you can be on the outside. How about that yellow car, Joey Logano? Really slow in qualifying. Qualified 20th. He is driven up to 9th place. So we talk a lot about how it's hard to pass, it's tight. Joey Logano and his teammate in the 12 car, Blaney. Blaney is also up 12 spots since the start of the race. So both of those Penske cars have good pace.
Jeff, you bring up a good point. All 3 Team Penske Fords started 20th or worse. Blaney is up 12. Logano is up 11. Austin Cindric up 10. They're all marching forward. By the way, courtesy of that amazing run in the opening stage, importantly, in the big picture of things, the 20 of Christopher Bell has amassed enough points to lock himself in to the round of 12.
Yeah, so Bubba Wallace talking about he can have fun, not in the playoffs, etc. Well, now Christopher Bell, he is in the playoffs, and he's at Bristol. And now there's no pressure, and this could be the most fun race he ever runs in his life. A pressure-free race at Bristol where you can just go get it. That is a great night.
And if I'm Adam Stevens, I'm making sure he knows. Work's done. Go have a good time.
And our graphics department have underlined his name in white, and that designates that he has clinched, same as an advanced and same as Joey Logano. So there's only 2 guys that have done that so far. And we'll continually update the points for you on the screen as to where they run. 99 laps to go in this second stage. We're only just getting going.
Alex Bowman, bottom of the racetrack. He's getting done what he needs to get done tonight. Finished second in that first stage, got 9 points. What a great playoffs that this team has had. They just want clean. They don't need spectacular tonight. They just want clean and get points.
A great playoffs under perhaps the biggest cloud. Right, every other driver, when they went to the media day for the playoff drivers a few weeks ago, talked about upcoming playoffs and their opportunity. And Alex Bowman has to sit there and talk about his driving career and whether he's going to be back at Hendrick Motorsports, all really because of rumors. And, I mean, that had to put some undue pressure. He said he called the ownership, and he was fine. But it can't make you feel great, Diff. When people are talking about it, it has to give you a little uneasy feeling.
Came out, got a top 5 in Atlanta. Really solid day there as he closes the gap on Denny Hamlin. Had a top 20 in Watkins Glen last weekend, and then sat on the pole yesterday.
Richard Childress told me once, if you want the rumors to stop, just go win. You know, just go perform, and no one will talk about you. Not as far as being traded or getting rid of or fired. Just go get results, and that's what Alex Bowman has done.
Tell you who else is going and getting the results at the moment is that FedEx Toyota Camry of Denny Hamlin. There he is there, solidly working. He was outside. He was on the outside looking in. The points as they run, he's already into the top 10. And we know that he is going, Marty, for 3 consecutive wins here at Bristol.
And if he pulls that off, he'll be in the round of 12. When I talked to Denny Hamlin earlier this week about the confidence he has coming to Bristol, he said, I know we'll be there when it counts at the end of the race. Here he is in stage 2, making the top work for Denny Hamlin. Since the restart of stage 2, he's gained 3 spots, more than anyone else in the field, and showing the strength of that 11 car on the longer runs, Parker.
And Marty, as we watch Alex Bowman there, he's racing maybe just a little bit cautiously as his crew chief Blake Harris came on the radio at the end of stage 1 after they finished second and got those 9 points and gave him a very thorough breakdown. We just need a couple more points in stage 2, and that locks us in to the round of 12. No matter what happens, they're just trying to finish out this stage with as many points as possible, and then they can go after it in stage 3.
Bowman runs top 5, just ahead of Chase Briscoe. Bubba Wallace has dropped back. William Byron, Blaney now inside the top 10. And Chase Elliott, haven't really spoken about the 9 much tonight. Different scheme on the car, it's all red. Easy to spot from a distance. But Chase too, looking to just stay in that really solid spot where he is in the playoffs at the moment. He's 7th in the standings, the Lumar Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports.
Some nights you just don't want to make a highlight reel. Either way, you don't have to be great or bad. Have one of those nights that nobody knows you were there and it was good enough to advance.
His teammate continues to dominate this event. Kyle Larson, 130 laps out in front. You're watching the Bass Pro Shops night race here at Bristol Motor Speedway, America's night race. NBC Sports on USA. As we are going deeper into stage 2, 80 to go. Need to tell you about DraftKings Sportsbook. It's an authorized gaming operator of NASCAR, and this week new customers can bet $5 and pocket $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app, use the promo code SPEED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Stevie, this is your domain. Let's have a look at the important numbers. Who catches your eye?
Well, Kyle Larson came in the favorite. His numbers are only dropping as he dominates. You can now get him at plus 170. He was almost 3-1 coming into the race. Hamlin, no surprise. Bell, once again. The guy missing is Ty Gibbs. He's down there at 14-1, recovering from that penalty. I really like the value of the 22 car, Joey Logano, 16-1. Jeff, you said it. He's running 11th, but he came from the back. He caught your eye on that first stage. I think Logano is really good value. He's maybe not the best car right now, but it's still got a lot of racing to go.
Where's Briscoe? Yeah. Not at 6.
No respect. No respect. He's still on there. Just because we don't have him as the top 10, that means he has longer odds than the top 10. Go to your app. find him if you can believe it, Chase Briscoe.
Well, this guy who we ride with thanks to Monster, Ty Gibbs, plus 1,400, and Gibbs is battling his way and really well to stay on the lead lap. There's the gap between Larson and the 54. As we take you back to something that just transpired. Watch that black car high up.
54 in heavy traffic. It's squeezed right here between two cars. Remember, the penalty for the 54 was tail end of the field. He had to line up behind the lap down cars as well. And this is what happens. I mean, look at the craziness, beating and banging. And why? Because you said it. Larson is coming.
Larson's 4 cars behind him. These two have been going at it.
We talked about going a lap down. Well, now Daniel Suarez is 2 down, battling to try to stay 1 down, but Larson getting by him. That makes the task very difficult for the 99. Look, this is a driver that came in 36 above, and there he sits 1 above. That is not a good feeling for the 99 car. Helpless.
How about Stewart-Haas Racing's Chase Briscoe? Wife Marissa is any moment, any day, about to give birth to twins. So that was playing on his mind as he has to focus on staying in the playoffs. And Jeff, he's not just staying in the playoffs, he is driving his way to the front of this field.
Yeah, you won that race at Darlington in dramatic style. And a lot of people picked him to be out in the first round of this playoffs. And he's done nothing but perform. Great job by he and the entire team.
Let's check in with Kim Kuhn. Kimmy?
Yeah, you talk about Chase Briscoe, and the complexion of this race team has totally changed since that Southern 500 win, since making the playoffs. Remember, Stewart-Haas Racing shutting down at the end of the season. The team told me before they made the playoffs with that Southern 500 win, they were counting down the days until the shop closed. Now they feel like they have the wind back in their sails. It is a week-to-week thing now. Instead of counting down the days until the shop closes, they are counting down each week to the next race and putting in what they need to try and advance to the next round of the playoffs.
Well, we spoke about that huge morale boost post-Darlington, what that did for not just the 14 side of the race team, but for the entire corporation. But that's not short-lived. It's continuing. And this guy, who heads to Joe Gibbs Racing next year to take over the 19, is just keeping that morale boost steady and constant for the Stewart-Haas organization.
Well, I know the 19 team doesn't want to look ahead to next year, but when they do get a little glimmer, they got to feel good, Jeff, about thinking about this is the guy that's taking over that seat.
Yeah, I mean, what great positive momentum, right? Going over there, and you look, you got to replace Martin Truex Jr. I mean, that's a champion, a guy we consistently see winning races. That's a big deal to replace somebody like Martin, and to have the confidence that you can do that. I mean, that makes you feel good as a race car driver. They believe I can have the success that Martin has had. What better compliment?
We were talking before about, Jeff, when you said this is my first visit here, one of the first things that many people said is, you've got to go and listen. You've got to get used to the noise. It is crazy, right, Marty?
Yeah, Lee, we always talk about the speed at the world's fastest half mile. Well, how about the noise, especially if you're on top of a pit box like I am off of turn 4. You can hear me right now because the mic is so close to my mouth. But imagine being a crew member and sitting 3 feet away from the person you want to talk to. This is how that would sound. So, Steve, is Bristol, number 1, the toughest place to communicate when you're on top of the pit box trying to make decisions? And number 2, how in the world did you communicate? I can tell you, I can barely hear anything down here right off the turn 4.
I'm going to give you a little hint, Marty. Even when you held it close, I'm not sure I could completely hear you. No, he is right. Listen, old school, post-it note. Back before the intercoms and all that, a Sharpie, I'd have to have a box of them, Lee, because if you want to get somebody's attention, you would like throw a Sharpie at them so they would turn around so you can hand them the post-it note.
Look at this, teammates together on track, and Denny Hamlin continues to surge. Next one on his list is Christopher Bell. The Toyota on board, bringing us these awesome images of the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway and Denny Hamlin, the dream of getting 3 wins in a row and locking himself into the round of 12. is getting closer to becoming a reality. Yes, we've still got a long way to go, but he's doing everything he needs to do.
Jeff, I want to flip this story. So much have they made about Hamlin's approaching Atlanta by riding around. They're getting in a wreck and walking to Atlanta after qualifying in the back. Let's take all that aside. If they can accomplish the task tonight and can advance, is this a jump start for the 11? I know that sounds crazy, right? But it's been anything but a smooth or correct round. They would surely love to go back and smooth the first 2 races over. You can't. But if they pull it off, Chris Gabehart right there, Denny Hamlin, they believe in each other like no other, right? Does this jumpstart them and just reconfirm what they maybe already know?
Well, Denny Hamlin's going to get out and say, I told you. Like, you guys all got on me about the way I raced Atlanta, riding around in the back, trying to avoid a wreck. Then I got in a wreck the next week, and I told you guys we were going to come to Bristol and get it done. And so I think when you gamble like that and it works out, then I think that gives you even more confidence. And I actually think that's what Denny needed a little bit. I think the penalty with the engine, I think that put him on his heels a little bit. He hasn't won a championship. Every reason why he hasn't won a championship, and then that happened. And I think that was like, oh no, what is going to happen to us this year to keep us from winning? If you can advance out of this round after those 2 races they had, that can help move them forward.
Look, cold water on the face, right? Kind of knocked you out of this dream or nightmare of this penalty.
What about the 10 playoff points that were lost for the engine seal issue? Remember the engine going back to
they won this race in the spring.
Yeah.
Sealed the engine.
Went back to TRD in California instead of going to NASCAR. And so those 10 points, give him 10 points now, and he's in a much more comfortable position. Can't turn back time. He's gonna handle it from behind the wheel of the 11. Race still controlled by Larson. A reminder to your race fans that when in Las Vegas, you can stay where the races stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. It's your ultimate pit stop on the Las Vegas Strip. South Point, everything you want, all under the one roof. And look at the roof here, high above. And this wonderful aerial coverage tonight brought to you by Traveller Whiskey. A sight to behold. Bristol Motor Speedway, the night race, the Bass Pro Shops night race, continues with 41 to go in stage 2. It's the same picture at the front with this man in control, this man being Kyle Larson. I'm going to take you back just a few moments ago. Watch Alex Bowman. That's Josh Berry trying to get out of the way, Josh. And Chase Briscoe was opportunistic on the high side.
Yeah, he just didn't want to get caught on the bottom. You know, had a chance to make that move, and just aggressive Bristol. Austin Dillon up in the high line, loose, a little bit of contact.
So, Steve, here's a question for you. The signature, the thing that everybody was talking about after the spring race here and been talking about all the way up until this weekend, was the tire drop-off, the degradation, just the crazy, unpredictable nature of that race. It was applauded. The drivers said, hey, to Goodyear, let's bring the same tire back here. Let's have that. It was fun. It was something different. The same tire back here. Why is the race different?
Well, this is why that question is so complicated to answer, and I know it's frustrating for fans and drivers and even Goodyear, right, when it goes wrong, but this is the same tire. The real difference, the only real obvious difference is the temperature. It was very cool in the spring. It's much warmer now. Jeff, you and I talked about even the look of the track. Like, there's not big tire marbles. It's not like it looks just way different. In the spring, it's all you could go to run 55 or 60 laps. Here we are, we ran over 100 laps on the first set of tires. They're 81 on this set of tires, and I haven't seen one driver pacing himself.
No, it is completely different, and you know, congratulations to everybody that had the courage to bring this tire back. They thought they recognized what would be different between this race and the last race. Let's don't bring back a hard tire. Let's go back with it. We think we understand it, and they got it right.
Let's get some updates from pit road. Let's kick it off with Dylan Welsh. Dill?
Well, Diff, it's that time of the night. Patience starting to run thin in the cockpits of these race cars, including on the 12 radio. Listen.
Just the 4 out back by 3 up top. No worries.
Okay, just let me drive. Just let's talk, please. I can see in front of me.
The good news is the 12 car has been good. Drove from 22nd to 11th in stage 1 on the charge here again, and they weren't really sure what they were going to have at the start of the race. This car is good right now, Parker.
And for William Byron, he's fallen from 5th to 10th in this run and is quite frustrated on the radio. Take a listen.
A lot of guys easing into the throttle over on the bottom. They're not going wide open like you are. Yeah, because I'm so tight. I have to go wide open to keep up. 5.
And that is the frustration we start to hear when the car isn't doing what you want and you know where you need to go, but it just won't do it. It starts to add up inside the race car in this half-mile track. Tim?
Ty Gibbs also hot under the helmet. Meyer back in traffic after that speeding penalty. Take a listen.
Next time we speed, we got to come down and free this thing up because we're tight as hell. 10-4, this is what we got here for a while. That is. It's always been a dual bag.
And Tony Hirschman, the spotter, coaching his young driver, reminding him over a dozen times, Marty, to be calm, stay patient, and race smart.
Frustration also setting in, Kim, in the 6th camp for Brad Keselowski. And even though he came in below the elimination line, a lot of people looked at him finishing 3rd in the spring and said they have a good shot to advance. Tonight, it's been the exact opposite. They went down their first lap in stage 1, trying to avoid going down a second lap here in stage 2. And the leader, just 2 cars behind him. He said our exit is terrible. The front tires are gone. Jeff, we all kind of thought Keselowski would have some pace tonight. Are you surprised they're this far off the pace?
Yeah, I am surprised. I just, this team has done so good, and this kind of racetrack you expect Brad could come and compete at a high level, but they just don't have it tonight. Teammate Chris Buescher is only running 20th also, so RFK just didn't quite come with what they needed.
Well, and you wonder, Jeff, remember the tires were a big conversation. When I talked to different teams down there, some came with some adjustments in the car to improve tire life that doesn't appear to be needed now. It's easy to say make adjustments. Well, not every knob can be turned, Diff. Like sometimes you are married to something, and you just have to wonder if the 6 and the 17 made choices that they could go back and undo.
I would say the same for the 99 of Suarez.
Yes.
Think about where they were in points coming into this race. All the tire issue, you dialed a little bit of speed out of that car trying to protect it, and now you don't have the speed you need. But look, let's go back. And there's Suarez. He's back here in 31st, 2 laps down.
Dancing a delicate line in 12th.
2 laps down. It's very hard to overcome that. Let's go back to the 54 Ty Gibbs. I want his crew chief to say, hey, buddy, we started dead last on the field. You have driven this thing to 21st from dead last. Okay, we're going to make it better. You're doing a great job. You're doing what you need to do tonight. Just keep doing that because he is doing what he needs to do.
You know who else is doing a good job? Kyle Larson. He has now led more than 1,000 laps at Bristol Motor Speedway, more than any other track.
That's my team out there.
If our network goes down, lives are at stake.
Our comms have to work.
Well, the mission won't.
That's why we partner with Verizon Frontline, the network that truly prioritizes first responders.
So we don't worry about getting through. And they're the most reliable 5G network in America. Out here, reliability is everything.
Extreme or routine, Verizon Frontline delivers.
The #1 network choice in public safety. Learn more. Your mission is our purpose.
If the first thing you think of when you see a pickup truck is this kind of hauling, we're looking for you. Join us at Toyota Racing.
Looking for a better night's sleep? From soft, cloud-like comfort to firm, next-level support, Ashley has affordable mattress options for every body. And right now, you can pay 0% interest for 60 months on in-store mattress purchases. Only at Ashley. Shop more deals in-store and online.
Hey, get your head in the game, son. The scout from football college is up in the stands.
Maybe you'd rather go to school for insurance.
I didn't raise no insurance, man.
But you did, Dad. Football's your passion, but mine's providing around-the-clock protection to progressive customers who bundle home and auto.
Jamie, we need you out here for football. You're giving up on your dream, James.
No, Dad. I'm giving up on yours.
Oh, James, wait! Oh, that's not the exit.
The Barn Bar. The county's best hangout just got better. Here's to living smooth with the always smooth, easy drinking Keystone Light.
1 in 4 vehicles will need a new battery this year. Don't wait until yours dies to do something. Test your battery regularly, and if you need a replacement, Napa has you covered with a full range of long-lasting, high-performing batteries designed to keep you moving.
On paper, it's easy. Win and advance.
Logano prevails in this first playoff race.
But the truth hits harder than the road they drive on.
And there's trouble for their back. My goodness.
12 drivers remain, hoping to match dreams with destiny and claim a cup filled with history. The NASCAR playoffs continue at Kansas on USA.
Devastation here at Bristol Motor Speedway for playoff driver Harrison Burton has a power steering issue. They are behind the wall, up under the hood. Again, power steering issue for Harrison Burton.
Of all racetracks to have power steering issues, this must be the toughest. The vertical load with the banking puts so much weight on the tires. And the new car has a rack-style steering. This isn't an old-style steering box. So it's not like it used to be. You know, no power steering is near impossible to drive in the old car. With this car, I believe it is impossible. There's a few drivers that have pulled it off at higher speed tracks where you have kind of less load in the steering. Of a place like Bristol, there's just nothing you can do from behind the wheel. But I believe this right here will end the playoff hopes to the 21.
Yeah, the fairy tale story from Daytona, well, that will live forever for the Wood brothers and for Harrison Burton. But his playoff story is going to end here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. It certainly won't end for the 9 the way that it's going right now for Chase Elliott, so as he continues. But there's a caution out. Caution is out. And the man who locked himself in at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Joey Logano.
Maybe a flat. Should we get a flat?
What caused this? Some little damage to the nose, but not super severe. We'll see if he can get around without more damage because of the flat tire.
He's running 12th.
Started 22nd, up to 12th. Oh, contact there.
Can't tell from that angle whether there's contact from behind, or I still can't really tell. Either way, he gets just kind of spit out of line.
I think that was the slow car of Josh Bilicki in the top lane.
And Ryan Preece was in there.
So how bad is this race car, Steve? It's really hard to tell. Obviously, tires are flat.
Well, now it's decision time for the playoff drivers. Do you take tires? Do you stay out for points? Does everybody come? I think you have to pit. 108 laps on the tires. You have to come get fresh tires right here. Green lights on pit road. The leaders have peeled off the banking. You see Larson coming to his crew. Dylan.
Christopher Bell went backwards in that stage, just back to 3rd. Said that we were much tighter on this run, not as good. They'll go back on their previous adjustment, Kim.
See Chase Briscoe in the middle there. He said, I could use more grip. Car's not bad. Kyle Larson there on the bottom. He said, I don't know what direction I need to be. Track has less grip, but I don't know what direction. So no adjustments for Kyle Larson, Marty.
Denny Hamlin drove up to 2nd, pitting here with 6 to go in stage 2. He said the car's a little bit free, but when I'm in my rhythm, we can turn some really good laps, Parker.
And for Martin Truex Jr., still too free, and especially too free to run the top in that 19 car. 4 good years for him. The bottom of your screen, Alex Bowman commenting that he's just too tight to run the top. The exact opposite of the 19 car there, and too tight on the bottom. Those front tires turn to basketballs. Larson wins the race off pit road.
And a huge break for a couple playoff drivers. The 99 of Suarez will be able to stay out and take a wave around. The 6 of Keselowski forced to pit because Reddick stayed on the racetrack.
Welcome back to Bristol. Under caution, and we'll go back racing here in a moment. Lights are already off. The pace car as the field is being sorted. Tyler Reddick will give us a talking point here. The McDonald's Toyota of 2311 Racing. Smart play here to get the stage points, Steve. Put himself in a strong position.
Yeah, I mean, the back of the field's still kind of stacked up at the choose. If we do start this time, it's going to be a 2-lap shootout. Crazy old tires. I like the call because of where he came in. I think these tires will cool off and fire off. Now I'm nervous because no one else stayed with him. This is a real big test for later in the day, right? Can these tires refire and hold off? Kyle Larson, best car of the night, is on brand new tires starting next to him.
And further back in the field with this little short run, you got several drivers 1 lap down. They will be racing hard, trying to be the first car a lap down.
I feel like we haven't really spoken much about Reddick tonight. He started in 15th, and a strategy play there as we go back to racing with just a few laps to go, 2 laps to go. Here at Bristol Motor Speedway in the second stage, and look at the effect of those new tires.
I'm shocked. I thought it would fire off quicker than that, but easily the 19 goes by. Now the 45 up the hill, tries to shut the lane off for the 20. I think he has a chance. He has a half a lap now to just kind of almost stay side by side with the 11, Jeff, is the goal. Not allow a third lane for Christopher Bell out front. Larson's going to win the stage.
Stage 1 and stage 2 for Kyle Larson. No worries there. And how did it work out for Tyler Reddick? Comes in behind one of his team owners in 4th place. So Larson, Truex, Hamlin, Reddick, Bell, and Bubba Wallace. Ultimately, was the gamble worth it for Tyler Reddick? We'll tell you the machinations of this cutoff race in the playoffs. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Sonic. Live free, eat Sonic. Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Go bowling. Go to gobowling.com to find a center near you. And by Bass Pro Shops, voted America's best outdoor retailer. 100,000 folks here tonight to witness the night race, the legendary night race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. So back under caution at the end of the second stage. It has been an evening, a race dominated by Kyle Larson. 216 laps. His teammate at Hendrick Motorsports, there's more positive news for the man who started on the pole. Alex Bowman has clinched his spot. He goes through to the round of 12.
It's like the instant value of stage points, right? That's what we love to do, and that's how these are happening. If you're at home and you say, how did this happen? He started not clinched, now he's clinched. It's because the math works where the 48 has scored stage points, 13 today, and for that reason, regardless of winners and anything else, and wherever he finishes in the race, we know he has moved forward. The 45 of Reddick gambled for those stage points, and the gamble worked. He scored 7 stage points today, so he's not mathematically in, but those points can't be taken away. So in a late race issue, those might be the difference maker for the 45, Marty.
Steven, as Billy Scott told me, that puts us one step closer to being able to advance. He actually told his driver, great job there. That's what we needed. So 7 stage points, as you mentioned, Steve, for the 45. Now in the bank. Now they'll pay the penalty as well. They're going to drop back to about 23rd, 24th, somewhere in that range for Tyler Reddick on this restart.
Talking about coming from behind and driving through the field, Ty Gibbs, remember who got that penalty earlier? He went all the way to the back. He has driven his way to 19th in the Monster Machine for Joe Gibbs Racing. Welcome back to Bristol. This is the Bass Pro Shops night race, America's night race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Just under caution for the stage break, getting ready to resume racing and get stage 3 going. Before we do that, let's check in with Dylan Welsh.
Well, before the end of this stage break, that caution with 3 to go. The pits opened pretty quickly and caught a couple teams off guard, including the Ryan Blaney team. See this here, the 19 pulls up alongside the 12. Ryan didn't take too kindly to that, and he had some thoughts to share on the radio afterwards.
The 19 pulled up the pit. That's bullshit. You can't do that.
Oh, I noticed that. It happened so quick.
So it looked like the 19 passed him, Marty, but what's the 19 say about it?
Well, Dylan, it was a pretty spirited battle between Denny Hamlin and the car he owns and Tyler Reddick for 3rd position at the end of stage 2. Hamlin won that battle. Here's what Billy Scott, crew chief for Tyler Reddick, thought about that.
That, just make sure the 11 knows what I did there for him. So I copy on all that, and I hope the hell you didn't do anything for him. We're racing his ass, and it's close. Copy.
So interesting, Billy Scott saying, I hope you didn't do him any favors. So what's the line there, Steve, when you're kind of talking about the owner versus driver relationship here and how Denny Hamlin should race the car that he owns?
Has he ever met Denny Hamlin? I mean, the line is take some more, take from the 11, take from the 54. Like, Tyler Reddick has to worry about the 45. This is way too big a stakes and way too tough of racing to try to help your team owner out at this point. In my opinion, the best thing to do is just continue to run as hard as you can run.
So here we are, 241 laps to go. Reddick up by 8 points, Hamlin 4, Suarez 1, Truex none, Briscoe 0, Gibbs minus 15. It is a Saturday night fight. Every single position matters.
Remember when we started at Atlanta Motor Speedway, when the playoffs started, we told you about the 3 so different tracks and how it was going to set up beautifully for variety for these playoffs. It is delivering. There's a tie right on the cut line as we go back to racing. Here at the world's fastest short track, the world's fastest half mile. Let's go. Truex is digging and pushing and doing everything he needs to do to keep his playoff hopes alive as he tucks in behind race leader and the guy who's dominated this event, Kyle Larson. Hamlin goes around the outside. You saw the 11 up there high. Bubba Wallace in that red and white car, the Mobil 1 machine. He's having a brilliant night. Yes, not in the playoffs, but driving beautifully. Briscoe fighting to stay alive.
Yeah, Christopher Bell drove to the bottom of the racetrack in turn 1, and when he did, Briscoe said, thank you, just jumped on the outside. Now he's going to clear Bell.
And it might only be for one position, Steve, but we've got to keep, as much as we're watching the cars and the drivers, you've got to keep watching the points in the bottom left because they change so rapidly.
They do change rapidly with 236 to go. Every car needs a pit stop for fuel. All these teams doing the same calculations as our graphics display. Not just where they're at in points, but versus who. Who are we racing? How many positions do we need? That will become much clearer. But for right now, it's just run as well as you can until we at least get to our final pit stop.
Let's hear more about the 14 of Chase Briscoe, Kim.
Yeah, Chase Briscoe currently +3 to the elimination line, but at the end of that stage had smoke in the cockpit. Chase telling his team the smoke happened as soon as he turned on the brake fans and said it was pretty bad. His crew chief, Richard Boswell, said, do not turn on those fans again. So we hear this problem. We know he had a rear view camera problem. Steve, is this maybe a bigger electrical problem we're looking at for the 14?
Well, you're definitely uncomfortable, right? That's 2 electrical components of the car malfunctioning, not working correctly. So I know, hey, don't turn the brake fans on as we see a battle between the 14 and the 11 Denny Hamlin. But you just have to wonder, Jeff, if there's more to these issues.
Yeah, I would be very concerned since it's multiple items in the car that you're having issues with. That tells me there's something other than just a singular issue. And how bad could it get? Will it continue to get away from you? As tight as the points are, they cannot have a catastrophic failure. Their championship run will be over.
Hamlin, Briscoe, Bell, 3 guys who grew up racing Saturday night, short tracks. How's it going to play out tonight? Hamlin has done everything he can do tonight. We've documented the troubled playoffs run as he is right on board with thanks to Toyota. The 11 team came in, you might say surprisingly, with confidence, but the guy who has won the last 2 races here at Bristol Motor Speedway, that confidence is understood. Let's give you the Toyota driver update. Check out who is running where, and the best Toyota driver placed is Martin Truex Jr. in 2nd.
And you see Ty Gibbs, he's down there in 18th. He's 15 points back. I think he can get that many points. He's got a fast race car. He's just been buried back in the pack after that penalty. The passes are going to get more difficult, but I think there's a lot of points for that team to go get. Austin Cindric on the bottom of the racetrack. He's 21 points to the good, so he's just wanting no drama. He's not going to push this issue too hard.
Oh, as the 17 gets bottled up with the 66.
He led a bunch of laps, Ty Gibbs, the last 2 races here. 2 top 10s. They'll be keeping that in mind as he presses his way, tries to keep his cool and just work his way methodically through the field. Earlier, after a pit road speeding violation, had to go to the back of the pack. And as Jeff said, he's worked his way forward to 18th.
Well, two different ways to drive the racetrack. Get a great shot of it right here. Chase Elliott at the top of the racetrack. Ryan Blaney on the very bottom. You can just see what happens. The bottom's good, Steve, but you just got to be, you just can't be almost as good as the 9. You got to be better than the 9 to be able to make up the gain that the 9 gets on the corner exit.
Yeah, you see it right there, right? It's a car length, maybe 2 car lengths just on one of these. Even as short as these straightaways are, it's still such an advantage to roll the top.
Yeah, Larson sitting there running the race, the fastest laps. He's stuck on the bottom. He's all over the bottom. So is Truex running third. Bubba Wallace, I'm sorry, second. Bubba Wallace running third. Denny Hamlin fourth. They're all right on the bottom of the racetrack. So there's pace to be had there. It's just hard to make the pass.
This is big for Ryan Blaney, just to get his playoffs as the reigning series champion, to get his playoffs back on track after what happened last weekend at Watkins Glen, taken out on the opening lap. You may remember he was pretty fired up when we spoke to him in the garage area because NASCAR had his car towed back, and that was his race over, and he was pretty upset by it. But NASCAR explained and reminded him of the rules, and that when you can't drive your own car back under its own power, that's day done.
We're starting to get a bit of a clearer picture on where everybody is with all of their stage points. There's a lot of assumptions. The first big one is that we don't get a winner from below, not the 21, the 6, the 54, the 99. But when you start to look at where we're at, focused on Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin, basically after the stages, we'll call them tied in points. So now who outruns one another between the 14 and 11 will then finish higher in points. So you have both of those guys tied and above the cut line. The 54 of Ty Gibbs, Jeff, you said there were points to have. He's back in 18th. Well, he is 4 points below Briscoe and Hamlin. So to beat those guys at the points, he's going to have to outrun both of them by 4 positions. A tall task if they continue to run 4th and 5th. Not an issue if they fall back a little bit further. The 19 of Truex in the same situation. He has to outrun the 14 and the 11 basically by 5 positions. So Denny Hamlin wanted to come to Bristol and have the opportunity to advance. It's all really at the hands of Denny Hamlin at this point. If he runs inside the top 3, the math would say, barring a winner from below, he should advance. Here you go, Denny Hamlin. You have 213 laps to go in the race, running 4th.
And that's the view you want. Look, it is clean racetrack, and that is great. That's what you want when you're at Bristol. You don't want chaos, but eventually he's going to get to these lap cars, and eventually Bristol is going to happen. And when it does, things will get scrambled up. It's just Bristol, and you just never know what's going to happen. You cannot assume that you're going to have a clean race.
Marty?
To the point, Steve, we're just making. Chris Gabehart, before stage 3 started, told Denny Hamlin exactly that. He said, as long as you kind of stay where you are with the 19 and finish in front of the 14 and 54, you will advance. That's the only update so far tonight to Denny Hamlin in terms of points, Parker.
And for Martin Truex Jr., you noted, Steve, that he's right there on that cut line, running in 2nd place right now and on the bottom of the racetrack. But as we've seen, this groove starts to migrate towards the top, and that has proven to be difficult for Martin. Take a listen to his radio.
We made a change there that will hopefully make it better. That's the only best change we can do to help that particular situation. So hopefully it doesn't make it too tight anywhere else. But we'll just have to see here.
And one other thing they said on there is that basically there was something that's fundamentally in the setup that's hurting him being able to run the top. They also told me that's been his weakness here, running that top groove. They're hoping the bottom groove would continue to be dominant, but they worked on that with Martin, trying to make it better. Right now, though, they're in the bottom and in 2nd place.
I think much the conversation, Jeff, that you and I had about Denny Hamlin, if the 19 can survive this first round, what kind of, you know, fresh air does that breathe into this race team? It wouldn't be a win. A win, I think it would be unbelievable what could happen to this race team. I think that's the confidence builder that they're looking for, and they've run well enough to get it. It just hasn't quite happened. So we'll have to see if that happens. Kyle Larson running down the 99 of Daniel Suarez. This is to try to only stay 1 lap down. Remember, he went from 2 to 1 with that wave around at the end of the stage, but the 99 is just not have the pace, and we continue to talk about it. Look at him at -3. Came in so far above. Suarez running 33rd. Just, you and I have both been there, Jeff, those days where you're helpless. Your car doesn't do what you want. I can't make it drive any better. We just try to limit mistakes as Larson goes 3 wide.
And his teammate Ross Chastain is running in 10th. So again, it's kind of similar to the RFK situation where one car that's out of the playoffs is running higher than the car in the playoffs. One thing that hasn't changed, Larson out in front.
You looking for a little trouble? You like watching things get broken? Like barriers? Glass ceilings? And records? Then this playoff season, we're looking for you.
Join us at Toyota Racing.
America, built by those who dare to dream, those who push the limits, and those who serve. At Bass Pro Shops, we stand with those who stand for our freedoms, proudly offering a legendary salute discount every day, and recently partnering with the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, becoming the official outdoor gear provider for our heroes. Because it's more than the great outdoors, it's about honoring those who protect it. Bass Pro Shops, voted America's best outdoor retailer.
1 in 4 vehicles will need a new battery this year. Don't wait until yours dies to do something. Test your battery regularly, and if you need a replacement, Napa has you covered with a full range of long-lasting, high-performing batteries designed to keep you moving.
There is nothing like a Wendy's Frosty. It's cool. It's creamy. It's only $1 right now. Wait, what? The one and only Frosty is $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Ally has savings buckets to help you save for anything you want to buy. Because everyone has something they're saving for. Like that new car. Or a fancy vacation. Or party supplies. Your delivery budget. Or even the down payment on your dream home. Our savings buckets help you save for what matters most to you.
All the drama of the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs is now on the CW Network. Your exclusive home to catch the faces of racing's future as they seek to take the lead and etch their names in history.
He is impressive.
Catch them on the CW before the rest of the world catches on.
A reminder that you can join NASCAR's free rewards program and start earning points that turn into member-only rewards. You can earn every time you check in for a race. You can trade points in for free tickets, exclusive gear, autographed merchandise, and one-of-a-kind race day experiences by visiting NASCAR.com/fan-rewards. Welcome back to Bristol. Lee Diffie, Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton, racing into the night here as we check out which drivers are on the move, brought to you by Ashley Furniture, and it is pretty simple who the best one is. It's car 12, that Worth Ford for Team Penske of the reigning NASCAR Cup Series champion Ryan Blaney, up 14 places. Nice work.
Yeah, running in 12th place, came into this race after last week's wreck. Just needing a solid race, didn't need to do anything spectacular, but doesn't need anything bad to happen either. And if he does that, he can advance. Same with his teammate Austin Cindric. Those are those guys just kind of trying to stay out of the highlights, right?
A little below average qualifying effort for the Team Penske organizations. You know, for me, I expected them to be a little quicker. So I think their nerves were up at the beginning of the race, but you mentioned it on the move, right? So Blaney's driven up inside the top 10. Cindric not quite as high. He just passed Carson Hocevar for 18th. So, or I should say battling Carson Hocevar for 18th. They keep going back and forth.
I think it's hard to race if you're Austin Cindric. It's one of the hardest races you ever run because he came in here 43 points to the good. And you can't run well here without being aggressive.
Right.
But you can't afford to be aggressive. Don't need to be aggressive. And, you know, like those moves right there where you cut a guy off because, you know, that's just what you have to do at Bristol. You don't want to do it, right? Because you don't want to get in a wreck. But I think their approach to this weekend has been right. It's been conservative. But that's what this team needs to do in my eyes. And so far, they're doing a good job of it.
If you take this team and you think about the crew chief, Brian Wilson, these are the moments that you really have to know your driver, right? Because do you remind Austin Cindric, the 26-year-old, hey, Hocevar in the 77, younger driver, just give a little space, or does that take away some of the confidence of your driver? Dylan, you know, how do you manage from on top of the pit box? It's a relationship you've built, hopefully, over the whole year.
Well, and these two, Austin Cindric and Brian Wilson, have championship winning experience together in the Xfinity Series. And Brian talked about that. He said, Austin finally, we feel like, is at a position where he is just trusting what we tell him to do. We're trusting him when he tells us what the car is doing. And it's paid off. Their last 10 races have been a really, really strong set of races for them. Biggest thing for them tonight, and they're doing it, just take care of themselves, protect whatever track position they get, and they'll advance to the next round. So, yes, they've lost some points tonight, but given how this day started, I think this is a positive day for Cindric and the two.
Just the one win on the season was the win that vaulted Austin into these playoffs, and since the playoffs started, 10th and 10th. Really solid performances from the driver of the two. Now, some other drivers not making massive headlines, but doing really solid work tonight is Ross Chastain in 9th, Corey LaJoie in 11th, and Ryan Preece in 12th. Really solid nights, just on the in and on the fringe of the top 10.
Yeah, one of the most solid races we've seen Corey LaJoie put together on a non-restrictor plate style racetrack. Bittersweet race. Driver swap. He'll be moving over to Rick Ware Racing, as you talked about earlier in the evening, Lee. But here's Corey LaJoie trying to give his team Spire, you know, run one last time. He sent something out on social media thanking the ownership, appreciating the opportunity, making the most of it. And much like LaJoie, Ryan Preece, the next non-playoff car behind him, Jeff, running in 12th. We have yet to get official word what Ryan Preece is doing next year with the SHR shutdown.
Yeah, another SHR car running well. And again, I continue to be impressed with this team. You know, they haven't quit. They're shutting down, but they're still fighting. And how about this battle going on? Truex, Hamlin, Briscoe. You know, we heard the report about Truex, and they made a change to the car, but they were concerned if it was going to make it too tight. And now you're seeing the speed start to come out of the car as he tries to run the top 3 wide.
Check this out. Chase Briscoe in the middle of Martin Truex and Denny Hamlin. That's got the attention of James Small. Look at the eyes wide open of the crew chief of the 19.
Well, look at the points. Look what happens. Truex is only 2 points to the good. They both get by and watch what happens.
Chase Elliott has a front row seat. He's trying to figure out which line to follow. I always vote top. I like the top line. I think it has the momentum. You have the least amount of risk.
Chase Briscoe and the courage of conviction. He said, forget whether I just won Darlington and I got in and you counted me out. I'm not the underdog. I can win this thing.
I feel like Denny Hamlin, he was in the middle of that. I feel like he didn't want any parts of that.
Yeah.
You know, he looked like he backed up to me, just did not want to be in the situation where he was 3 wide. And he's going to potentially give that spot up to Chase Elliott because of it.
Elliott runs high. Look at this. So while Kyle Larson is more than 3 seconds out in the lead, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th are all together. Throw in 6th place Ryan Blaney as well. Now things are starting to get a little spicy.
How about the move? How about the line that Briscoe continues to run? Mostly today we've seen if a guy's on the top, the guy on the bottom is all the way on the bottom. Briscoe's not doing that. He is running the middle of the racetrack. I think some of that has to do with caution.
Caution, got one out, sir.
Caution is out, and it's the 7 of Corey LaJoie.
Having such a good night. He was running in 11th, qualified in the top 10.
Might be right right front totally.
This is his final drive for Spire Motorsports before transitioning to Rick Ware Racing for next week's race in Kansas. Let's show you how it went down for LaJoie.
Kind of in the middle there. Oh, man.
Josh Berry.
Contact with Josh Berry. From that angle, it's hard to tell. I mean, definite contact, but I can't really tell. It's late in the corner to know who's climbing, who's going. I'm sure there's way more to it than that. Probably starts even earlier. Here we're going to see it.
He gets loose.
Yep.
He gets loose and loses momentum. See right there, he's loose. And then I think he gets slow, and Josh Berry just doesn't get slowed up and gets into the back of him.
Yeah, without a doubt, Josh Berry caused the contact between the 7 and the 4 as far as he hit him from behind. But I don't believe it was intentional, right? The 7, to your point, when he gets loose and he checks up, this is what happens. That's what makes this place so difficult, is the speed you're traveling in close proximity.
That's a shame for Corey LaJoie. As we mentioned earlier, he was coming off his 3rd top 10 of the year, Watkins Glen, last weekend, and he was running on the fringe of the top 10 here tonight.
So this is a potential break for Keselowski. There's 5 cars 1 lap down. He's the last car. If he could get himself back into the lead lap, who knows what could happen. He's got a lot of points to gain. I don't think it's enough. But further back, Daniel Suarez, 2 laps down. He's going to need a series of cautions to try to find a way. If he could get himself to 1 lap down, somehow with some strategy, then maybe he could go gain some spots. Look where he is. He's only 2 points out. So what kind of strategy can they play? They have to be willing to gamble.
Well, there's very little to lose, right? If they gamble and they get it wrong, they give up maybe only 2 spots. So if I'm Suarez, I'm probably, it's hard to say though, right? There's 70, 80, 90 laps on your tires. It's easy to say up here in the TV booth to maybe take the wave around, but if you're the crew chief on the 99, that is a nerve-wracking decision.
Yeah, he's going to, LaJoie's out, right?
It's going to gain a spot for the 99. Gain a
spot. So now, how do you play? How much do you gamble? Because if you're Suarez, Logano's 2 down, he's injured. Right, his car's hurt. Eric Jones 2, Gilliland 2. Can you gain enough within your 2-lap guys to get the points you need?
Pit road's getting busy, Dylan. They're coming your way.
Chase Elliott, the first pit box off turn 2, said he was a tick loose in, but was pressing pretty hard that run. He wants that same condition to navigate through traffic. 4 tires and fuel, Kim.
You see Chase Briscoe in the middle. He said he fired off tight, but it comes to him. The call is cold. I believe that's 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Kyle Larson on the bottom. He said, better that run. I was able to manage it. I'm comfortable with the balance. Said just free up top like the first run, Marty.
Really the first run of the night, Kim, where Denny Hamlin did not gain any spots as we come over to the front stretch. He said definitely freer on that run. It just didn't have the grip I had earlier, Parker.
And Marty, for Martin Truex Jr., he's got bad brake pedal shake that he says is hurting the front tires and causing him to get tighter there on the bottom. And for Alex Bowman, he's got right front chatter right now, which means the right front's actually skipping across the track, not able to get that car to turn the way he wants, and the 5-team stays undefeated on pit road tonight.
What an amazing night it has been for that 5-team. Denny Hamlin grabbed a spot, so too did the man who's been sneaky fast tonight, Chase Elliott.
Disaster on the 14 pit stop, lost a tremendous amount of spots. Let's take a look at what happened. Oh, trouble in the right front. You see the socket sparking and spinning underneath the tire changer. Grabs one off his belt. Quick recovery to limit the damage, but some damage done.
Big night in the Bass Pro Shops night race here in Bristol.
Sorry, guys.
As we welcome you back to Bristol, if you are a Martin Truex Jr. fan and this Bass Pro Shops Toyota, we don't have good news for you. He just apologized to his team on the radio. He got caught speeding on pit road. The night was going so well. He was in the top 2, he was in the top 3, he was in the top 5. Let's eavesdrop on some radio.
Sorry, guys. 165 to go, man. It's going to be a little bit tougher, but we can still make it work here.
I love that radio, the refocus. Drew Herring on the roof. That was the voice of the spotter. Say, hey man, we apologize later. Let's just get back to the attention. 165 to go. We have to make something happen. The 99 does not have the pace. It's on us. Let's try to find some points.
So, and what I need to know as a driver, okay, what do you need from me? I don't just tell me I just go past as many cars as I can. I need to know how many spots I need to get this done. Give me a goal.
And unfortunately, when I look at the points, the goal is you need to get back to second. And I know that's a tall task, but that's what the math is saying. A lot can happen, but where everyone is running, it's going to require around a second-place finish. But 164 to go at Bristol, anything's possible.
One of the big headline stories was, can Denny Hamlin win 3 here at Bristol in a row? Can Denny Hamlin drive his way into the round of 12? Larson gets a terrific restart. Here comes his teammate Chase Elliott in the red car around the outside. Elliott has been spectacular tonight and just sneaking his way forward through the top 10. There goes Bubba Wallace right around Denny Hamlin as well. Christopher Bell lining up. Ryan Blaney in the mix too. What a restart that was from Chase Elliott. Now here is Briscoe in the 14 trying to make up for that pit stop, that slow pit stop.
Big slide by Bubba Wallace on corner exit. Got him up to the high lane, the 11, the 20. Both trying to get to the inside. You mentioned Briscoe making up for that pit stop, running in the 9th position on the outside of Bowman.
See that black car right there, Ty Gibbs. Keep talking about him climbing his way back from the back. He's up to 10th place.
If you're going to speed, do it early, because you've seen how long it has taken for Ty Gibbs to recover. But to your point, Jeff, doing a nice job. Only 6 points below the cut line, running 10th. It is still right out there in front of the 54.
He has the pace to make this happen. Jumped into the outside of Bowman. Now he's got the preferred spot. He can make this pass. Only 5 points off now.
Where do you look? What do you watch? It's all on the line, all around the racetrack.
So much variation. So many things changing so quickly. Christopher Bell in the 20. The DeWalt machine has already clinched. He's in. Alex Bowman's already clinched. He's in. We know Joey Logano, who crashed earlier, he's clinched because of his win at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
I heard a spotter say, be smart. That guy's never driven. This racetrack, it is borderline. There's Ty Gibbs on the outside. It is borderline aggression versus smart. It is a fine line to walk at this racetrack. You cannot pick up spots without being aggressive and pushing hard. Ty Gibbs picking another spot up, now 4 back.
This has been a tremendous display from Ty Gibbs. To be patient, it's a team effort. There's plenty of coaching on the radio. He was a little hot under the collar earlier, but the team have got him to keep his cool and methodically work his way forward. Again, got a penalty early, went to the back of the field, and has just been checking them off. And Ty Gibbs now runs in 8th place. 4 on the wrong side of the elimination line. But Steve, the numbers are getting better for the youngster.
The numbers are getting better because he's moving forward for the 54. It's going to be a real battle between Ty Gibbs, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Suarez, everyone around that cut line. Poor Suarez thought he overcome the 19 because of his penalty, and here Gibbs is now back in the picture.
Well, look at the mess the 19 car is in. I mean, he went to the back, and now there are cars everywhere. This is not what you want to be, but he's done a nice job. And I think, too, you know, one thing that we've heard about his car is that it likes the bottom of the racetrack. I think that can be beneficial on the restart because so many people want to run the top.
Check out Briscoe in that gray Rush Truck Center's entry for Stuart Haas. Goes by Bubba Wallace and sits in 6th. Parker, what you got?
Well, as we ride on board here, Martin Truex Jr. trying to come back from that speeding penalty. You know, there was a pretty popular video on social media this week of his onboard at the end of Watkins Glen because of the aggression he had coming through the field. He gained about 7 spots in the last restart. And James Small, his crew chief, said, yeah, we watched that and we knew he has that aggression when he needs it. What did James Small tell him on the radio just as they were going green here? Full aggression, be as aggressive you need to be and get as many spots as we can. They said we saw it there. He's going to need it right now if he wants to stay fighting for this championship.
Well, when the word comes down around speeding, you just see the frustration. They're in it together. It's not about blame. It's about heartbreak. You know you're so close. You brought the car. Truex has done his job. You know, and it's easy to say, be conservative, run a mile an hour under, but if you do that all year long, you just will not compete for wins. You have to race every ounce of the race, both under yellow and under green. I'm going to give James Small and Martin Truex credit. There's been a lot of opportunities over the last 2 years where the blame game could have started, yet it never has. They've kind of stuck arm in arm. They've battled it, and they're going to battle through these last 145 laps and for sure the last 7 races of the season.
The 6th speeding penalty of the year for Truex, and it could be the most costly. Still time to make it up.
Meanwhile, up the front, Kyle Larson has led now 317 laps. The last driver to lead more than 300 laps here at Bristol, that was 15 years ago, Kyle Busch. And we got a good view of the Cheddar Chevrolet further back there because he was the driver immediately ahead of Martin Truex Jr. Kyle is a little further back than where he would like to be in 27th place.
When you define drivers and you look at tracks they excel at, look at that list, Jeff. Bristol, Darlington, Dover. Most laps led by track. I mean, those are 3 drivers' racetracks without a doubt.
Tell you who's doing some awesome driving here is the 14 of Chase Briscoe. Goes up and around Ryan Blaney. And he just keeps stomping his way forward. He's 7 points above the cut line at the moment as we race with 1:41 to go. Whoa, look at this.
This started on the back straightaway. Suarez is angry.
Suarez and Eric Jones.
Suarez isn't out of this. He needs to be.
What the hell was that all about?
Watch this. This happened on the back straightaway. Eric Jones just comes across the nose of Suarez, and Suarez is mad. I'm not real sure how he didn't spin him out there. He was trying pretty hard.
Daniel's trying to stay alive in the playoffs, and he is walking a really delicate line right now. At just 3 points above the elimination line.
See the 21 of Harrison Burton back on the racetrack, but multiple laps down after having to change some power steering components. 76 down. I can appreciate returning to the racetrack, just trying to score as many points as you can, run as many laps.
It was a Hendrick Motorsports 1-2 in qualifying. It's a Hendrick Motorsports 1-2 right now with Kyle Larson leading his teammate Chase Elliott.
Applebee's is serving up the NFL. And to celebrate, we're serving up America's favorite boneless wings for just 50 cents each. We're trying out some other stuff, too.
What's the order?
50-cent boneless wings?
50-cent boneless wings on 2. Ready? Break.
Hey, Brock. 50-cent boneless wings all day, every day. Only at Applebee's.
Enjoy.
Introducing the Well-Turned Collection. At Ashley, our dining furniture is made for all of life's moments. Be ready for every occasion with a table that extends and instantly elevates any space. Discover looks made for moments big and small. Only at Ashley.
1 in 4 vehicles will need a new battery this year. Don't wait until yours dies to do something. Test your battery regularly, and if you need a replacement, Napa has you covered with a full range of long-lasting, high-performing batteries designed to keep you moving.
The Barn Bar. The county's best hangout just got better. Here's to living smooth with the always smooth, easy drinking Keystone Light.
Pod's biggest sale of the summer is ending. Save up to 25% on moving and storage until September 23rd. And see why Pods has been trusted with over 6 million moves. But don't wait. Use promo code BIG25 to save. Visit pods.com today.
The Fun 99 menu. Always $1.99 each.
You like watching things get broken? Like barriers, glass ceilings, and records? Then this playoff season, we're looking for you.
Join us at Toyota Racing.
In a game usually played by one, for one, friends become foes, and foes become teammates.
We'd like to have another crack at the Americans.
For 1 week, for pride.
This American team is on a roll.
For glory. for the Cup. The President's Cup on NBC, Golf Channel, and Peacock.
High above Bristol Motor Speedway, looking at race leader Kyle Larson and these wonderful aerial shots tonight, brought to you by our friends at Traveller Whiskey. Racing into the night, 126 to go. Nobody's been close to the race leader Kyle Larson. And speaking of close, it's close on the bubble. Chase Briscoe, then to the 99 of Daniel Suarez. They're 7 and 3 points respectively above. And then you've got the 54 of Ty Gibbs and the 19 of his teammate Martin Truex Jr. Those who are in at the moment, Jeff, and those who are wanting to be back in.
The most interesting one to me is Daniel Suarez. 3 laps down, right? And what he's pulling for is this 5 car of Kyle Larson to get by the 43 of Eric Jones. That would put Eric Jones 3 laps down. Josh Berry is right in front. If he could get by him, that would put him 3 laps down. And now you're racing guys for position. And the concern for him, though, is the 54 can pick up spots still. I think the 19 can pick up spots. But even 3 laps down right now, Suarez is not out of it.
Well, let's talk about more playoff drivers, and let's kick it off with Kim Coon. Kimmy?
Yeah, Lee, great night for leader Kyle Larson. Swept the stages, and talking with crew chief Cliff Daniels, he said this style of racing here at Bristol is so instinctual to Kyle, searching for the best line, finding the best way around the track. This suits him so well. No major complaints from Kyle about the handling that race car all night, just looking for a little bit more grip. Dylan?
For Chase Elliott and the 9 team, they wanted to treat this race just like any other race. Needed to score some points early. Knew that was their plan from the start. Alan Gustafson told Chase, don't be timid. Go race this race hard. Chase ran hard on the last restart. Got to second. This car is as good as it's been all night. And Chase is showing it running second, Marty.
Denny Hamlin came in 6 below the cut line, Dylan, and he promised they would be in the mix tonight and do what they needed to do to advance. So far, they have done that. Hamlin +9, car much better on this run too, Dylan.
Christopher Bell rides 4th. It's been a roller coaster day. Good, then bad. He was tight on their second stop. They made adjustments for it, went backwards. Now they're charging forward. Bell statistically races more in the top 5 here than any other driver. He's back where he belongs in 4th right now, Cam.
And in the 5th position, Chase Briscoe. Nice rebound after a very slow pit stop last time around. He was able to shake it off. His crew chief Richard Boswell pumping him up, saying, think big picture. You are the man. They have got a great race car underneath them tonight. Chase Briscoe currently sits +7 on the cut line. Dylan?
This has been a gritty day for Ryan Blaney, running 6th right now. Started 22nd, needed some points for safety. Nearly got them in stage 1, drove to 11th. They did get stage points in stage 2. Haven't been out of the top 10 since. Doing exactly what Ryan Blaney needs to do to advance to round 2. Parker. Kim.
An early error by Ty Gibbs with a speeding penalty mired him deep in the field. He has picked his way back through. Talking with crew chief Chris Gale earlier in the day, he said, Ty's strength is also his weakness, and that is he is a hard charger. You need that here, but you also have to be patient. This team has been coaching him lap after lap to keep him cool under the helmet, Parker.
Alex Bowman has clinched a spot in the round of 12 here, and I had an interesting conversation with his crew chief Blake Harris about momentum. He said he had a conversation with their team earlier this week, and he said it is real. When we qualify better, we get better pit selections, we practice better, and it all compounds, and we're seeing that for this 48 team with a great start to the playoffs. His teammate William Byron told me before the race that if they have 2 solid stages, that lessens the pressure a little bit. He did that. He got 6 points through the stages, but I don't know if the pressure is off, Dylan, because he's only 20 above the cut line.
There is some concern on the 2 camp of Austin Cindric that they maybe played things a little too conservative with their setup this weekend. So far, Austin Cindric has been able to charge through the field, started deep, as did all the Team Penske cars in 27th. He has chipped away at it all day. They've tuned on this race car. Cindric is 16th and safely into the playoffs. Round 2 for now, Marty.
Dylan, it has not been an outstanding night performance-wise for Tyler Reddick. Points-wise, it's been good enough to this point. +16 above the cut line for Reddick, who's been struggling with the handling of his car all evening long, Parker.
And bad news for Martin Truex Jr. fans. He has made 0 headway since that speeding penalty from 2nd place. He sits in 24th, following A.J. Allmendinger right there. He actually got by him a couple laps ago, and then AJ drove back by him. This is not the progress they needed for the 19 car if they want to keep their championship hopes alive, Marty.
And not the performance for Brad Keselowski they expected either, Parker. Matt McCall, as crew chief, took the wave around on the last caution, but the problem is his last stop was lap 245. They cannot make it to the end of the race like everyone else who pitted at lap 333. For Joey Logano, now 3 laps down for Logano. They got damage earlier. What happened was when the tire went down, the 7 car of Corey LaJoie got into them. That's why the tire went down for Logano. He's in 29th. And yes, Daniel Suarez, to Jeff's point, more cars are going down 3 laps, and Suarez has taken advantage. He has already passed Eric Jones on the cars that are 3 laps down and gained 1 point because of that. So even with all the lack of performance for the 99 tonight, they're still on the right side of the cut line, Kim.
Well, Marty, Harrison Burton came into this race -20. Despite that, was really optimistic, said he loved this place. It's like a college football game, but for NASCAR, he said. Unfortunately, the team ran into power steering issues, had to come off the racetrack. They did change out the steering rack, got him back on the racetrack, but at -77 laps, his hopes to move on to the next round are absolutely gone.
So that's the state of play for all 16 playoff drivers, which will be trimmed to 12 at the end of tonight's race. This is where the action is, though, and it's going to have playoff points implications for others, likely Daniel Suarez. If this young man, Ty Gibbs, continues to surge forward, the next car on his list immediately ahead, 2311's Bubba Wallace, and the 54 has caught him in a methodic and steady pattern over the last, say, 10-15 laps.
Well, that's what, Jeff, you keep pointing out, is that there are points available. Bubba Wallace just up the road, another half second to Blaney, 1 second to Briscoe. So Gibbs can race his way in. Suarez is just trying to do everything he can do to find some pace in this 99 car.
These two Joe Gibbs Racing teammates have had a fun night too. The 11 and the 20. Christopher Bell is already in. We mentioned that earlier. Denny Hamlin looking to stay where he is and ensure that he goes through to the round of 12. And they've been stuck together for a long time here. And Chase Briscoe looking for a way by. The 14 is shadowing them.
Christopher Bell trying to make the bottom of the racetrack work. Suarez is just really doesn't have the pace. He's able to stay in front of these guys, but I think if they ever got by him, they could drive away, and that's what Christopher Bell is trying to do, to trap the 11 car behind the 99.
Whoa, 65 laps on the tires, 100 laps to go. I believe all these cars can make it on fuel, but can they stretch the tires as you see Truex under attack now from Larson to go a lap down?
To go a lap down. And it wasn't that long ago that the 19 was looking at the back of the 5, racing in 2nd place. Again, if you've just joined us, Martin Truex Jr.'s playoff hopes took a massive dive when he was handed a speeding penalty on pit road. He apologized to the team. And now it's in a very, very difficult position, 21 points below the cut line.
He's got to race exceptionally hard here. Just cannot afford to go a lap down. But it just, you know, once he got back here, Steve, his car just has not performed. He's had clean air. You can talk about, you know, he's in traffic and it's more difficult, but he's got, you know, 10 car lengths in front of him, and the car still isn't driving well.
Remember yesterday we saw those fans up against the fence. They had that sign and it said, all I'd like for my 50th birthday is a Martin Truex Jr. victory. Well, there was one point where it may have looked possible tonight. It's certainly gone the other way with 94 to go now. Unfortunately for the driver of the 19. Kyle Larson, who won Vegas, Kansas, Sonoma, and Indy. Car 5 is charging for win number 5 on the year.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills.
Hello?
Should you become stranded, be ready to signal rescuers.
How long have I been out here?
About 12 minutes. Head for the mountains.
Here we are driving down the road, and all of a sudden, bang! Oh! There's a crack in our windshield. You know what we can do now, though, right?
Go to SafeLight.com.
And we're good to go.
Hey, guys, I'll be replacing the windshield for you.
Can we go in there with you?
New cars come with cameras that can control your automatic braking systems and lane departures, which you do need to get recalibrated when you get your windshield replaced.
If you get a crack in your windshield, there's only one choice.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Pod's biggest sale of the summer is ending. Save up to 25% on moving and storage until September 23rd. And see why Pods has been trusted with over 6 million moves. But don't wait. Use promo code BIG25 to save. Visit pods.com today.
1 in 4 vehicles will need a new battery this year. Don't wait until yours dies to do something. Test your battery regularly, and if you need a replacement, Napa has you covered with a full range of long-lasting, high-performing batteries designed to keep you moving.
Hey, Flo. Cool leg warmers.
Thanks. They're just for the bus ride to work. They're not part of the official uniform.
No tunes today?
No. My apartment was robbed last night. Took my cable-ready TV, VCR, portable cassette player.
Yep, all the latest tech.
If only Progressive had renter's insurance, like their home insurance.
Then we could bundle our cars and get the same 24/7 protection. I think we just invented that. This is the best day ever.
Well, I still got robbed.
It's still a pretty good day.
Ever wonder what you'd do if you found yourself in a horror movie?
Hello?
A reboot by Jordan Peele and Monkey Paw Productions.
This is my first human. I am so excited.
Of a prank show?
See American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. I just pranked the New Day.
So scary. It's funny.
Oh my God! It's a finger. I'm out of this. Wait. No, bye, girl.
USA Scare Tactics. Series premiere Friday, October 4th. Set your DVR.
Let's take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap on the night, and it belongs to John Hunter Nemechek, the driver who actually brought out the first caution of this race, the Bass Pro Shops night race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And this extended aerial coverage is brought to you by Traveller Whiskey. And as we say,
you see Truex was passed by Larson. Now Truex a lap down, and Truex driving away. I'm sorry, Larson driving away from Truex.
And Larson's on the inside of the Dinger, AJ Allmendinger for Kaulig Racing, who finished 10th in the Xfinity Series race last night. So 80 to go from here. And the numbers are just staggering, Steve, for Larson. 381, about to be 382 laps led, just in a league of his own.
Yeah, we've seen Larson lead a lot of laps, but not win races, and he knows it's been like that too, so he's got to still has to all work out.
A little further down the order, we were telling you the story about Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs got by Alex Bowman. He's up to 8th. He's still working on Bubba Wallace. There is the 54.
That 99 car, they've made their car better. And that 4 car, Josh Berry, that is for position. Now look, it's for 30th, but that's a point.
So is it the 22 as well, Jeff? You mentioned it when he was beating and banging with the 43. They needed to just try to worry about the cars they could pass. The 4 and the 22 are both positions.
They have definitely made the 99 better. Josh Berry up the racetrack. He's not able to get underneath him.
Well, let's continue the conversation about the freeway.com machine of Daniel Suarez. Marty?
A moment ago, Daniel Suarez told Matt Swiderski, his crew chief, he said, we're better, but not much. So there's the answer to what you guys were asking. And they did tell him, hey, those 2 spots in front of you, those are for position. So if he can go get those, you'll see Suarez go even further above the cut line. But he also knows the guy he's racing right behind him, Ty Gibbs, clearly has a very fast car and more cars to pass tonight, Parker.
And for William Byron, who currently runs 13th, moments ago, he was in the top 10. He He was plus 20 above the cut line. Now he's fallen to 17 above the cut line, and he was wondering, should he be worried? Take a listen.
Should I be worried at all?
All good.
Currently plus 17. Just keep plugging here.
And those are some sweet words to hear. Basically, we're all good there for the 24 team at plus 17. As long as something catastrophic doesn't happen, they're in a good position. But it's interesting to hear these drivers counting those points from inside the car and wondering exactly where they're at.
And Jeff, how reassuring is that from the driver's seat, just to know what the bigger picture looks like?
Well, it's to know how many points you have to the good is a great, that makes you feel great, but you know it's not over. You know anything can happen. You've seen it before. Get one caution. All the everything changes then. So, yeah, you're in great shape now. Don't do anything to put yourself in jeopardy.
Okay, let's add another name to the list of drivers who have advanced to the round of 12. No great surprise with the man who's been out front for almost 400 laps. Kyle Larson has now advanced to the next round. Joining tonight, Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman, and of course the Atlanta winner, Joey Logano. So the picture for the round of 12, Stevie's getting clearer and clearer. Or is it?
Well, it's
with Daniel Suarez and Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, it's clearer at the top, but as Jeff says, it can kind of switch in the blink of an eye, and that's really the point in this situation. We could count positions and points, but as you see these two races racing each other, it matters. Ricky Stenhouse, the 47 now on pit road, that matters because that's a position that Suarez on the racetrack could get. Those are the things that we talk about. You know, this isn't a stick and ball sport where it's two drivers just battling one another. Every other driver on the racetrack affects these mathematical equations. So, Jeff, that's why you've been preaching all night for the 99 to stay focused and keep gaining what points he can.
Yeah, the other guy, Brad Keselowski, he stayed out to try to get back in the lead lap. You know, so he pitted back on lap 245, so he doesn't have a whole lot of fuel left. He'll come on pit road soon, possibly as well, and that could be another position.
The Castrol Edge on board shows us the view for Brad Keselowski, multi-time winner here in Bristol, but has been pretty much up against it ever since qualifying and knew that he was in for a tough night. Tell us more, Marty.
About 9 laps to answer Jeff's question until Brad Keselowski comes to pit road. You watch Matt McCall on the pit box right there, bottom left of your screen. I talked to him when they made that decision to take the wave around and not pit when everybody else came down pit road to be able to make it to the end of the race. Steve, he said, simply put, that was my only option. That was my only play. So if they have to come down under green here, that's effectively going to end their playoff hopes, you think, Steve? Because they're already 36 below the cut line. They'll go multiple laps down.
Yeah, green flag pit stop would be the end of the playoff chances for the 6. But I have to agree with McCall. I appreciate understanding the situation, Jeff. And you know, don't roll over. Keep fighting. Keep doing whatever's possible. I like the call. This is just one race of 3. It's just the playoffs of a regular season. More wins during the regular season, more playoff points, more, you know, better runs at either Atlanta or Watkins Glen. A lot goes into this, but I do appreciate the effort of a little bit of a Hail Mary here, and all it would have taken was one timely yellow.
And while we were watching all of that, Kyle Larson just made another milestone of this race. 400 laps led. We told you when he had led 300. Last driver to do that was Kyle Busch some 15 years ago. Well, the last driver to lead 400 laps, by the way, also Kyle Busch, 16 years ago. It's been the Larson show here in Bristol under the lights. And he's clinched his way to advance through to the round of 12 by being the car to beat.
Daniel Hemrick in this 31 car, he's in 21st place, so that shows you how good of a run Kyle Larson has had to lap up to there. And Tyler Reddick right in front of him in 20th.
Reddick currently 9th, 16 points above the cut line with 57 laps left.
With 57 to go, my eyes are on the 54 of Ty Gibbs. I believe he's the driver that has the ability to find 4 points. Easier said than done. But 4 positions on the racetrack is what he's looking for. Every position's a point, but he's still stuck behind the 99 who's not 4 position. So it's funny because Suarez is who he's racing. So this battle for the 99 is is for more than just position, right? And the 99 is running defense on points. If he can't get by Suarez, he can't get by the other cars in the lead lap and to gain points.
Todd Gilliland, he came into pit road. Brad Keselowski coming to pit road.
And these cars pitting should come out behind Suarez. So Suarez is gonna get a more comfortable margin, not by doing anything other than running his own race.
Now they're gonna have new tires, and they're gonna have a lot of pace here. So how many laps can they get back? Todd Gilliland as well as Keselowski.
I just don't know if you can get enough here. You know, I agree there's more pace, 3 or 4 tenths of a second a lap in traffic, but it's going to be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, but the 99 is 3 down.
Yeah,
they were only 1 down. So,
speaking about being laps down, how about that? Larson just went by Reddick to put the regular season champion a lap down.
The good thing Suarez has going for him is that now he's 5 points to the good. But Eric Jones, who he's raced with all night, he's behind him. He's the only guy 3 laps down, you know, with the 99. So he doesn't have many positions to lose. Ty has to go get some positions.
Yeah, Keselowski actually pitted and returned to the racetrack on the same lap of Suarez, but in front of him with those newer tires.
Right.
So that's a non-factor. Suarez definitely isn't going to run a guy down on new tires.
So Eric Jones and Todd Gilliland, they're the 2 guys behind Suarez that could catch him and pass him and drop him down 2 points. That's about all they, you know, assuming nothing happens, that's about all they can lose.
Yeah, Keselowski actually pitted and returned to the racetrack on the same lap of Suarez, but in front of him with those newer tires.
Right.
So that's a non-factor. Suarez definitely isn't going to run a guy down on new tires.
So Eric Jones and Todd Gilliland, they're the 2 guys behind Suarez that could catch him and pass him and drop him down 2 points. That's about all they, you know, assuming nothing happens, that's about all they can lose.
Yeah, Keselowski actually pitted and returned to the racetrack on the same lap of Suarez, but in front of him with those newer tires.
Right.
So that's a non-factor. Suarez definitely isn't going to run a guy down on new tires.
So Eric Jones and Todd Gilliland, they're the 2 guys behind Suarez that could catch him and pass him and drop him down 2 points. That's about all they, you know, assuming nothing happens, that's about all they can lose.
Yeah, Keselowski actually pitted and returned to the racetrack on the same lap of Suarez, but in front of him with those newer tires.
Right.
So that's a non-factor. Suarez definitely isn't going to run a guy down on new tires.
So Eric Jones and Todd Gilliland, they're the 2 guys behind Suarez that could catch him and pass him and drop him down 2 points. That's about all they, you know, assuming nothing happens, that's about all they can lose.
Yeah, Keselowski actually pitted and returned to the racetrack on the same lap of Suarez, but in front of him with those newer tires.
Right.
So that's a non-factor. Suarez definitely isn't going to run a guy down on new tires.
So Eric Jones and Todd Gilliland, they're the 2 guys behind Suarez that could catch him and pass him and drop him down 2 points. That's about all they, you know, assuming nothing happens, that's about all they can lose.
Flat tire have to come to pit road. They can lose a few positions and still be safe. It's Briscoe and Hamlin who cannot afford to lose a bunch of spots.
This is just not going away.
Well,
the 99 and the 54.
No, it is a tight battle, and the 41 car coming into play, and he's trying to get by the 54 for position.
Yeah, 10-4. Clear high, 41.
So now that's a position loss for Ty Gibbs. And now he's 6 points behind. I think Ty's car has gone the wrong way, and in front of Ty Gibbs, there's no one. I mean, the next guy, look, there's right here.
Yep. And behind, you saw Alex Bowman actually starting to catch the 54 of Gibbs. So that's going to further compound those issues. Tell us more, Kim.
Yeah, you heard him say it's loose, but we have to look at this round collectively, and that's what crew chief Chris Gale told me. They should have gotten more points in Atlanta. He said he felt like they left 10 points on the table, and then he was honest and said our cars were not as good as they should have been last weekend at Watkins Glen. So they take some responsibility at collectively looking at this round. Ty, very good here, had an early speeding penalty, but right now, Marty sits 6 points below that elimination line.
Boy, Kim, this is fast fascinating. Could a car in 30th, 3 laps down, advance to the next round? Here was the update a moment ago to Daniel Suarez.
I'm to the good on the 54. There is 4 cars tight behind him here. Next car for him to pass is way up the road. Need to go green to the end. That's a critical part.
And I go back to the work they did in the first 2 races of this round. He came in with a 36-point cushion. Could that save Daniel Suarez tonight? And Steve, to the point of Spotter made just a moment ago, he said it's critical it goes green to the end for us on the 99. Why is that?
Well, because they understand the situation, but the problem is as soon as you get a yellow, the 99, as Jeff has pointed out, can only find 2 or 3 points, where Ty Gibbs running 10th can find 7, 8, 9 points. So you do not want the leaders to come down pit road and kind of jumble up the field. Suarez has less upside than the 54.
And 54 is going the wrong way.
Yep.
We just saw him lose several positions. Now the 1 of Chastain has got by him. McDowell is right behind the 54. So we heard the report that he's gone loose. And with that lack of rear grip, there goes the speed.
If Daniel Suarez can hang on, as here comes Michael McDowell, if Suarez can hang on, this is going to be like running a marathon with no shoes on for the last 5 miles. It's going to be painful. It won't be pretty, but you're going to finish.
Yeah, it's one of those that you're not proud of the run, but it accomplished what you needed.
Well, and it goes to what he did in the regular season to get himself locked in, right? And then also the performance that he had in the first 2 races. And he built up enough points to give him enough cushion to go run. You know, he finished 2nd at Atlanta, 13th at Watkins Glen. Remember, he was stuck in the sand pit at Watkins Glen.
And he was a lap down in the 30s at Watkins Glen and stuck in the sand trap.
You can never quit.
Eating hard, going to lose a couple more, so long laps or whatever you got to do here.
Jeff, you said as a driver you like direction, and they're doing that for the 99 of Suarez, trying to give him the hope that they really do have, right? This isn't false hope. This is the reality of the situation. Log some laps. I almost like the update of, hey, we're not really looking for the 4 in front anymore. Just kind of put your mittens on and ride this thing out for 28 laps. Now's not the time to gain an extra spot. It's unnecessary.
Well, the game's changed with the 54 struggling.
Exactly.
Right, that's now the 10 car, the 10 of Gregson. Now he is under the 54. So they're watching that. The 54 is struggling. We just need to not cause a caution here.
136 lap green flag run, the longest of the day, with still 27 to go. These are on the same Goodyear tires that couldn't run 60 laps in the spring.
It's extraordinary the difference between the 2 races this year. Stevie, you had your illustrious career at Hendrick Motorsports. Here's one for you. With Kyle Larson leading 435 laps, it is the most laps led in a race ever by any Hendrick Motorsports driver.
And that's quite a stat when you think about the list of Hall of Famers that have driven there. And it's the style of race, like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson's dominance at Martinsville, a track where you could lead 400 and something laps. So for Kyle Larson to pull that off, well, there you go. Jeff Gordon, Martinsville, 97, and then Dover in 95. I'll give you a hint how many laps that race was. So, I mean, think about that. It's just some impressive performances in Larson. 437, and I don't think he's done.
Let's talk more about Denny Hamlin. It was one of the big headlines, Marty, coming into this race.
He was the focus of everybody, Lee, coming in below the cut line, but Hamlin right now on the right side of it, plus 14. They're just hoping this race plays out the way it is. Hamlin is starting to come around a little bit much later in this run for Hamlin. And a moment ago, his spotter Chris Lambert was giving him a lap count down. Denny very matter-of-factly said, I do not need a lap count. You can tell, Kim, he's focused inside the car, and right now looks like he could advance sitting in 3rd.
Also looking to advance, Chase Briscoe. He currently sits in the 6th position, and he's had a solid day, but enough hiccups to make you sweat a little bit. You think about the early issue with his rear view camera failing. Then he had smoke in the cockpit when he used his brake pads. Then they had a very slow pit stop. Chase has kept his head in this game. His crew chief, Richard Boswell, told me this is probably one of his 3 best racetracks. He's got a knack on how to make speed here. That was true in the Xfinity Series. That's also true in the Cup Series here at Bristol. Right now, the team has told Chase that currently he is plus 11, so pick and choose your battles for these next 19 laps.
He said they could do it, and he's driving his way towards the round of 12 and then looking towards the rest of the 2024 season. And look at this, a car and a driver trying to make it into the round of 12. Ty Gibbs just goes a lap down. There is no stopping Kyle Larson here tonight.
And that's a big moment for the 54, because now even a yellow, while he would probably get the free pass, you know, it'd be tail end of the field. So just his opportunity to gain points is dwindling.
Yeah, and if the 5 gets by, you know, one more car, then he doesn't even have that opportunity. So yes, that is a huge to go that lap down.
And think about the Knights, right? For both Gibbs and Truex Jr., the first 2 drivers below the cut line, both had hope to eliminate this 99. Both speeding on pit road. The 54 earlier in the race. The 19 is Joe Gibbs' racing teammate later in the race. The 19 has just not had their best stuff, yet the 54 and the 19 couldn't capitalize.
Only 12 cars, by the way, with 14 laps to go. 12 cars on the lead lap.
Well, it's got to be, it's going to be a very tough Sunday when you had the guy you had to beat, one of the guys you had to beat finished 30th, and you couldn't find a way to do it. That is going to be very difficult to process that tomorrow.
You know, Diff, you said how many cars won the lead lap. We've talked a lot about the playoff cars, but it's worth just mentioning. Bubba Wallace, 5th, non-playoff driver. Ryan Preece, 8th. Chastain, 10th. McDowell and Gregson, just now the first car 1 lap down. Great runs for McDowell, Gregson, Preece. Right there, there's Noah Gregson. I don't think we said his name much tonight. Super impressive, very clean night. He's the first car 1 lap down in 12th.
This is the longest green flag run since 2012 here at Bristol.
My goodness. There's some big numbers being racked up here tonight under the lights at Bristol. 10 to go from here.
10 to go, and your physical fitness is at a test. 41 minutes of green flag racing. 41 minutes of 16-second laps, basically 4 seconds on the straightaway, and you're into the high banks again, vertical loading. Jeff, I know these drivers are fit and the seats are custom made, the headrests are there, but this has to be a mental and physical challenge as the 54 is shoving the 43 out of the way.
So there was contact between the 99 and the 43, Suarez and Jones, and now it's Gibbs and Jones getting after it in the closing 9 laps.
I think that's the frustration boiling over behind the wheel of the 54.
What a year this year has been for Daniel Suarez. If things stay as they are, he will make it. He will make it to the round of 12. He won a race by thousandths of a second at Atlanta. He got married. He won a race, a NASCAR stock car race in Brazil, and became a United States citizen and could drive his way from 30th. It's a wacky story. From 30th into the round of 12.
And if you can do that, maybe it just feels like it's your year.
Yes.
You know, maybe it just feels like, hey, this is my year. We found a way to dodge the bullet, because every team is going to have a bad race. Every team is going to have struggles. It is tournament racing, right? And you got to find a way to overcome it when things aren't going well.
Well, if advancing makes it feel like your year, leading over 460 laps and winning the race has got to be just an absolute huge step of motivation. Let's listen to the 5 of Larson.
The only mission you have right now is keep taking care of it. That's it.
Trying to get to the white flag as quick as I can.
I understand.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
That's great.
Kyle Larson, we talked to all these drivers when the playoffs started, and he talked a lot about managing mistakes, avoiding accidents. He knows the pace is there. A monster year. He got to try the Indy 500, run the double. That almost cost him, or it did really cost him, the regular season championship and some playoff points, making up for it all tonight.
He's going to do it again next year as well. He will do the Indy 500 Coke 600 double. He had that huge crash at Atlanta Motor Speedway to begin the playoffs. It wasn't a great Watkins Glen either. And just recently on the radio, he said to Cliff Daniels, I'm trying to get to the white flag as quickly as I can. Well, that white flag has come. And Kyle Larson is on his way home. It has been a stellar first-class performance under the lights in Bristol. Kyle Larson is the man. Cliff Daniels says, there you go, you took care of business.
That's fun.
Awesome run from his teammate Chase Elliott as well. Bubba Wallace, a top 3 run. Fine night from him, and Denny Hamlin does everything he needs to do to advance to the round of 12. Unfortunately, it went away for Martin Truex Jr. with a pit road speeding penalty. Tough night too for Brad Keselowski. Harrison Burton will go no further either as far as the playoffs are concerned. And Ty Gibbs missed out by 11. But this man here, 462 of the 500 laps, led by Hendrick Motorsports' Kyle Larson. What do they call that on Saturday night short track racing, Jeff? Maybe you're not allowed to say it on TV.
Yeah, be careful. How about this ride?
Son Owen there. Proud dad of 3. Lifetime memories made right there. Well done, Dad.
No burnout, but a lifetime memory for the Larson family. As Owen and Dad stand on top of the car. What an emphatic statement win for Kyle Larson and the 5-team, leading all but 38 laps tonight. He called it complete domination. Kyle, you've had a lot of good cars in your career, but is that the best car maybe you've ever had?
I've had a lot of good cars since I've come to Hendrick Motorsports, so it's tough to say. But man, that was just great execution all weekend by the team. You know, practice good, you got to qualify good. We did that, and yeah, just had a great car. So thanks to the whole 5-team. They're the best in the business, and we dominate a lot of races, but we might not close them all out. So it feels really good to close one out here in this HendrickCars.com Chevy. We got Rick Hendrick here today too. He hasn't been to many of these races this year, and Daryl Jackson, he's our hype man. He's here as well. So great, you know, just phenomenal car. Could kind of manage my stuff, and then you'll really pass some cars there at the end.
In front of these Bristol fans, I want to put this win in context. Most laps ever led by a Hendrick Motorsports driver in a race, beating drivers like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson.
That's pretty awesome. That's really cool because, as you mentioned, I mean, there's been some legendary Hall of Famers race for Hendrick Motorsports, and we've all grown up watching Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson dominate. So pretty cool to add my name to another record at Hendrick Motorsports. And again, just very fortunate to be with that group. Chevrolet, Junior Almenbar, Prime, everybody involved, Abilene. It's so much fun, and especially racing in front of you fans here under the lights at Bristol. This is this is my favorite track, and I hope you guys enjoyed that race there and enjoyed the methodical lap traffic run.
How cool was it to have this moment with Owen for the family?
Yeah, it's great. You know, we had a little boys weekend here this weekend. Caitlin, hi to you, and Audrey and Cooper, they're at home right now, so we'll have a long drive home tonight, but we'll bring some hardware home too.
Kyle Larson with an absolutely dominant performance in front of the Bristol fans, and he gets to celebrate with young Owen, who's going to get a ride to the elevated victory lane here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
How about that? And the flip side of the emotion and the reality of those advancing to the round of 12 and those who do not, who had a tougher night here in Bristol. For Harrison Burton, Martin Truex Jr. and Ty Gibbs and Brad Keselowski. The playoffs are over for them. The NASCAR America post-race show presented by Progressive. And it was progression displayed by Kyle Larson as he just stormed his way, as he said, what was it? Methodically through lap traffic. And we give you the updated playoff standings.
Yeah, now there are 12. 16 entered, 12 survive. Austin Cindric, a great first round. He's going to need a repeat performance, much like Alex Bowman. Those two below the cut line, as well as Daniel Suarez and Chase Briscoe.
I love this 12 because they're so close. You could make an argument that any one of these guys, think about Briscoe, he has stepped up. Cindric has stepped up. Bowman has, they've all stepped up. This next round, Kansas, Talladega, Charlotte, I think it plays favors for some of those guys. Briscoe, good road racer. Cindric, good road racer. Suarez, Bowman, they're all good road racers, and we have the Roval.
Oh boy. Okay, so that's for those who have made it, who will go through to the round of 12. What about those who missed out? Let's find out from Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs comes home in the 15th position. Unfortunately, does not make it into the round of 12. A speeding penalty, I know towards the end there you said you killed your right rear tire. How do you come to terms with how this race played out for you and the team?
Yeah, it was just unfortunate there. We felt like we were really good in practice and qualifying, just a little bit too loose tonight. Fire off too tight, so just unfortunate. The speeding penalties on me. Just, you know, we run the lights so close, and I just got a little bit too much, I guess, and my fault. But unfortunate. Proud of these guys and all the effort that they've given me, and we'll keep hammering down.
How do you describe the emotion you're feeling right now?
Unfortunate.
Disappointing night for Ty Gibbs.
Daniel Suarez finishes 31st, but more importantly, advances to the round of 12. It wasn't pretty. It looked like a struggle, but she advanced.
It was a struggle, Parker. You know, since yesterday when we unload the car for first practice, we just didn't have a speed, you know, and as you know, with a short amount of practice, qualifying and go to a race, if you don't have a speed out of the trailer, it's very, very difficult to bring it back to speed. So we made it better, but it wasn't good enough. You know, we were running 30th, 28th, 32nd all night long, and that's what we had. You know, luckily we had a great Atlanta, decent Watkins Lane after, you know, a broken wheel, and we're able to build a cushion, and we definitely use every single point out of that cushion.
Take me through the emotions when you were in that race at one point there in 30th, laps down. You guys were right on the cut line. What were you thinking at those times?
You know, I can only control so much, you know. I can only control what the 99 car can do, and everything else is out of my hands, you know. At one point there, you know, I feel bad for the 54 because I had to hold him back quite a bit, and he got past, but I had to do that, you know. I wasn't fast enough to drive away from him, so I had to play games to be able to affect him as much as possible in a clean way. So, yeah, luckily it worked out good. We have to relax a little bit and focus on the next run.
Daniel Suarez and this 99 team advances to round of 12. It wasn't pretty, but they got it done.
He sure got it done, Parker. And Jeff, as you mentioned earlier, just what you do, this is what the playoff format is like. What you do earlier, you can build up enough of a cushion that can help you through, and that's what happened with Suarez.
That's definitely what happened with Suarez, and kind of the opposite happened with Denny Hamlin, right? You saw the strategy that he played. He said, I know what I'm doing, came to Bristol. He's going to get out of that car, and he's going to say, I told you guys I knew what I'm doing. He's moving on.
Well, we finally get to see a mile and a half, a standard mile and a half, right? We have the CDW for the Xfinity Series where we kick off the playoffs. The Cup guys go to Kansas where, oh, by the way, guess what? Kyle Larson won
by one
spring.
1,000?
1/1,000th. Closest margin of victory ever, looking to repeat that performance. You know what we saw here tonight? Were drivers that were able to advance who know that it takes all 3 races. They want to get off to a good start in Kansas.
So there you have it. 3 playoff races down. We move through to the round of 12 next weekend, but we're not moving on just yet. When we come back, Marty Snider goes from the pit lane to join KP, Kyle Petty, and Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett.
Let's take a look at this week's Progressive Safe driver, Kyle Petty. When you lead all but 38 laps, I think there's only one guy that deserves it tonight.
There's only one guy, and it's Kyle Larson. I mean, you know, this is dominance. Okay, these guys showed up and they said, this is what we're going to do, and they did it. It's like watching a storm go through, okay? There's nothing in this wake. This 5 car took everything up here tonight.
How about that moment with the family there, DJ, his son Owen, being able to ride to victory lane with him?
Yeah, such special times like this. I mean, again, dominant performance. Takes you back to Cale Yarborough, things that he did, Darrell Waltrip at this place. But to be able to celebrate and have that moment with your son, there's no trophy that takes the place of that.
There's how the round of 12 will shape up. Kyle Larson goes into the round of 12 at one of his best racetracks, by the way, at Kansas. You would think it'd be Bristol tonight, right? But they think Kansas is certainly one of their best racetracks in the playoffs. Goes in with all the momentum heading into the round of 12.
Does Kyle Larson have a bad racetrack? I mean, I don't know where he's going. I don't know where he's going with that.
Right? I'm saying they think that is one of their best racetracks. Marty Snider, Kyle Petty, the Hall of Famer, Dale Jarrett joining you here. DJ, you mentioned some Hall of Fame names there. Cale Yarborough, David Pearson, a few others. You've seen a lot of dominant performances. You've had dominant performances, but have you ever seen anything like this at Bristol?
Not at this place, you know, and with everything that was going on out there around it, to be able to hold the lead that entire time. I mean, once he took it, it was his. You know, he just dictated the race and what everybody else was having to do to try to go on. So I don't remember that. I probably was on the end of other people having that, but you forget about those or try to anyway. But that was just quite the performance.
And I think the thing here is this is a playoff race. This is a playoff game. This is that added pressure. Let's take it up a notch. Let's do something different. And they took it up 2 or 3 notches compared to the competition tonight. And I think that's what's so fascinating to me as you look at this race is they just went out, took it by the throat, and just took it to them all night long. They never gave up. Nobody's leaving this race tonight. There's no other driver here that says, well, if a caution had failed or if something had happened, I had a shot. Nobody had a shot.
And DJ, we talked about in the pre-race show, Cliff Daniels told me this week, we need a little momentum going into Kansas, one of our better racetracks. They found it.
I'd say that was it, yeah. And we all just talked to Cliff Daniels, and he was telling me, you know, we look at that and see the dominance of Kyle Larson and what he did on the track. And Cliff was telling me there, of all that 500 miles of the things they're going through, you know, they're trying to match sets of tires and make sure they had the right ones. Think ahead who might be taking 2 tires at some point in time, what they had to do. So it wasn't a stressful or a stressless night.
That's right.
On the pit box.
And let's be clear. And like you said, it was not a stressless night for Cliff, but the pit crew was flawless tonight. Yeah. They never gave up the lead on pit road. We see that so many times. When you have this type of dominant performance, somebody drops the ball somewhere. Nobody in this team all night long, from the time they fired these engines, dropped the ball.
Number 1 topic going into the race. Could Denny Hamlin advance? He said all week long he would. He did. Right now he's with Parker Kligerman.
It was a tough start for Denny Hamlin the first 2 races to start the playoffs, but you guys put it together tonight and advanced. Take us through some of the emotions there in this race.
Yeah, I mean, my aspirations was to win it, you know, but it looked like the 5 there just was, you know, better than all of us. And yeah, solid car. I thought we were really good towards the middle stages, and then there at the end just got too loose and couldn't hang on to kind of what we had there. But overall, top 5 day, good stage points, you know, kind of in the mix, just not really, you know, as good as what we've been here in the last couple times. But overall, I thank this whole FedEx Toyota team for giving me something I can move on with.
After the way this playoff started, does this feel a little bit like a reset for you guys to have a good run again, finally, and now go into the round of 12?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, yeah, it's all offense from this point forward. So, yeah, we're going to Kansas, track we've been really, really good at. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the run.
Denny Hamlin's championship hopes stay alive.
And Martin Truex Jr. unfortunately will not move on to the round of 12. Had a speeding penalty, and we heard the disappointment on the radio. Taking responsibility for that, how hard is it?
Yeah, it's really tough, you know, when it's 0.09 miles per hour. That, you know, kind of screws your whole chance at a good season up. So, yeah, I don't know how that happened. I didn't know I was even that close, honestly. I felt like I did the same thing as every other stop, but You know, sometimes you're just a foot, maybe I was a foot to the left, or it's so tricky when you're going from that curve section to the straight to get your lights. And I just, yeah, it's on me. Obviously, it's my mistake. So, yeah, I mean, they said that we were going to have to run second or third there to have a chance. And I don't know if we could have done it, but it would have been nice to see. And just really, you know, sad for my guys. They worked so hard. And, you know, we had a really strong car tonight. And we did, you know, we got a lot of stage points. We did what we needed there. Just hate I screwed it up. I wish we could have at least seen if we could have done it. It would have been fun to have a fighting chance. But from here, we'll just go on and try to race hard and hopefully get back to victory lane before it's all said and done.
You said you're sad for your guys, but what about you? This is your last full-time season. How much does that add to the disappointment of tonight?
You never like to let anybody down, you know, no matter what the situation. So I hate that I did that tonight.
Well, you can hear the emotion from Martin Truex Jr. and earlier from his teammate Ty Gibbs. DJ, how odd is it that 2 speeding penalties take out both of the Joe Gibbs racing cars?
Yeah, Martin alluded to it a little bit, and this is a tough pit road. Even though it's a small racetrack, when you have this corner in it, it only takes a slight error, if you will, in the judgment and where you go around those corners to make that a speeding penalty. And it's very, very easy to do. And it's just unfortunate for them that they didn't get the opportunity after that. Never got a caution to try to make anything happen from that point. But, hey, look, one race and one mistake is not going to leave anything in our minds about what Martin Truex is, the champion that he has been through all the years of being in this sport.
But to the point, KP, I mean, how deflating is that they now have to move on with no shot to win the championship in his final year?
Yeah, you know, it's got to be disappointing for him. Okay, I'm disappointed for Ty Gibbs too. You know, the only 2 teams that had speeding penalties were the 2 Gibbs teams. We saw the 54 kind of recover. He got back. He just couldn't get up through there. Martin never moved. Once Martin was back there, he never gained anything. Anywhere. He never went anywhere after that. So yeah, there was something other than the pit crew or the pit penalty that kind of kept him back there. But yeah, it's got to be disappointing when you come into your last year. You've made that announcement. You want to make it all the way and go out on top. He's going to go out as always on top, as a winning driver and a champion driver and a Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame driver. But that's not the way he wanted to end this season.
So, DJ, you've been a part of championship runs. Because we brought the point at the end of the race, how does Denny Hamlin use this as a reset? How does Chris Gabehart use this as motivation moving forward and get them back in championship for contention?
Yeah, they're going to wipe their brow and say their prayers and thank the good Lord above that he allowed them to come here of all places they could do it. You know, sometimes you just have to have something to open your eyes a little bit. You know, it's easy to get in a mode, I would think, not having been in exactly this type of playoff system, but that you could get a little bit comfortable when you're looking at it, you're trying your best not to take yourself out of it, and sometimes those things that you're trying not to take yourself out of end up taking you right out and putting you in a difficult situation. But hey, that man was fully confident that he could come here and get the job done. Never, not one time. And I appreciate that part of it.
Yeah. And he made the point to me this week, the rounds just get better for us as the playoffs go along. So Denny Hamlin certainly to be happy to be advancing here out of the round of 16. Brad Keselowski, however, will not advance out of the round 16. He's with Dylan.
Brad Keselowski will finish in the 26th spot tonight. Not enough to advance to the next round. It seemed like it was just a struggle all night for you guys. What more did you need?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair to say, Dylan. Just didn't have the pace we wanted out of our Castrol Ford, and you know, we just ran as hard as we could, but there wasn't anything there. So executed what we had to execute with on pit road and took the chances we needed to take, but it's got to be faster.
When you look at this season as a whole, you got back to victory lane. Chris has been strong. Is the trajectory of this team on path with where you want it to be, or how do you view that?
Yeah, you know, we don't want to just make the playoffs. We want to go deep in the playoffs, and obviously we didn't do that this year. So we got to keep working and find more pace.
All right, and tonight for Brad Keselowski, his playoff run comes to a close.
Chase Briscoe comes home in the 8th position and more importantly makes it into the round of 12. You had a really strong night, a good race car, but not without a couple of hiccups. You had your rear view camera go out, smoke in the cockpit, a slow pit stop. How stressful was this race for you?
Honestly, it wasn't really stressful. Like, I knew our Rush Truck Center's Ford Dark Horse was really, really good. And even when we had that bad pit stop, you know, we came out 13th or 14th, and I felt like I could drive back up there. So, yeah, at the end, probably bled 3 or 4 spots, just trying to not do anything stupid. And felt like both arms got tetanus shots. So, yeah, overall, a great night for us. Hopefully people will start taking us serious. I mean, I truly feel like we can, battle for the championship. So hopefully tonight proved that. Hate that we had to kind of dig ourselves out of a hole after Atlanta, but hopefully can go on to Kansas and start this next round strong. And yeah, I feel like we can beat anybody on any given day when we put it together from start to finish. And obviously tonight, like you said, we did have some hiccups, but we were still able to have a good finish. And that's what this championship run's going to be all about. So yeah, go on to the next one.
You said you want people to take you seriously. What is the strength of this team right now?
I think just, our backs are up against the wall, right? Like no other team in the sport can relate to what we're going through and just how hungry we all are, right? So yeah, I think we all want to go out as winners. And we just know that we're capable of doing it when we put it together. And, I think for us, when we finally did win at Darlington, we kind of proved that to ourselves, and just the confidence that's came with that over the last 3 weeks has been a lot. So yeah, looking forward to the next 6 or 7, however many we got left.
All right, Chase Briscoe had a great night, survives, and moves on to the round of 12.
So Kyle Kim detailed all the issues there for Chase Briscoe. I want to ask you how you would describe the performance, but I also want to ask you what he said right there. Should people take the 14 team more seriously?
I'm going to have to take them more seriously. I would say that.
Yeah, you had him out. You did too, DJ.
I had him out in this round. And listen, I really thought that after they came out of Darlington, that was everything SHR had. That was everything Stewart-Haas Racing had. They threw it at that one race. They made the playoffs. Let's go out as a playoff contender. But here, these guys dig a little deeper. There's something, and we talk about it all the time. We talk about it on pre-race. We talk about it post-race. They talk about it in the booth. You can't see inside that guy. You can't see his heart. You can't see that team. Those guys are just a bunch of junkyard dogs right now because that's what they've got over there. They are taking parts and pieces. They are assembling these things. They're trying to get through the year, and these guys just continue to do a lot with a little, it looks like. And here he goes into Kansas, back in the playoffs, and a shot at making that next 8.
And they're also fighting for everyone at Stewart-Haas Racing with the organization closing at the end of the year. Chase Briscoe will advance on. NASCAR America Post Race is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, Kyle Larson with the big win. That's why he's the #1 seed, DJ. We showed you the bracket earlier. Now here's how the playoff standings shape up going into Kansas.
Yeah, you can see some of the people we've been talking about having problems before. Now they're back in the positions that they started this first round. Yeah, so things are looking up for a lot of them, but Kyle Larson right there on top.
Kyle Larson on top. Listen, and we saw Kyle tonight put in that dominant performance. Denny Hamlin, the performance that these guys put in, I'm telling you, man, don't ask me. I'm glad I'm not doing that.
Are you out of words, Kyle Petty?
I'm glad I'm not doing next.
Out of words.
I am glad I'm not doing next week and pre-race and stuff, and y'all are going to say, okay, who's your 4 out? Who's your 4 out? I got nobody.
Goodness,
I got nobody.
Alex Bowman starts the round of 12 below the cut line, -7. Right now, he's with Parker.
Alex Bowman gets a top 10 here at Bristol, but through the race, in the stages in your performance, you guys advanced. Did it change the race for you in any way when that happened?
No, honestly, the racetrack just rubbered up, and we progressively got worse as more rubber laid down, I felt like. But, yeah, proud of this number 48 Ally Camaro team. We did what we needed the whole first round of the playoffs, right? But also we want to be better and continue that through the next rounds. So missed it a little today when it rubbered up, but other than that, really solid points day for us, and we'll keep at it.
You know, coming in the playoffs, there was a lot of rumors swirling around you and this 48 team, but this strong start to the playoffs, what kind of statement does that make for you in this 48 team?
Oh, they'll keep talking. I'm not worried about it.
48 team will continue to fight for this championship.
Chase Elliott finishes second today. Most importantly, punches his ticket to the next round of the playoffs. This is the best run you guys have had since you won at Texas in the spring. Is this the kind of just reset that you needed to charge at the next round in Kansas?
Yeah, really proud of our effort tonight with our Lumar Chevy team. I thought it was a really solid night, overall. Had really nice pace and really thought our car drove really well. I don't think I could have asked much more out of the car. I think Kyle did a really good job getting through traffic, and that was the difference. I kind of got hung up, and he was able to slice through there. So credit to him and his team. They did a great job. Nice to get a Hendrick 1-2. And nice to be moving on. So, yeah, it was nice to be in the mix. It's always more fun when it matters and you're up front.
Did the track change about like you expected it to tonight with the addition of the PJ1 on the bottom?
It was just like the race here last year. But I thought the tire felt better, you know, to me than I know it was a little different. Obviously, it wasn't anything like the spring, but I thought it gave some options, being able to move around. You know, they were certainly probably not worth giving up a bunch of track position for, but I do think that, you know, had you had a caution there at the end, you would have had a pretty tough decision because, you know, they were worth a little pace. But, you know, like I said, great night. You know, nice to just have a really solid run and be up there in the mix, and really excited to get to Kansas.
Yeah, really good day for the 9 team. They keep fighting next week at Kansas.
William Byron finishes 17th here at Bristol, but you guys were able to advance. You came in here in an okay position points-wise. Was there ever a time there where you felt like we mightn't be in trouble?
Yeah, just the way we were kind of falling back. So we, you know, we started the race up front, which was great. You know, had a good Saturday, and then really from lap 4 or 5, we just couldn't get the front end to work and just super tight. So we threw a lot at it through the race, trying to make it better, and just was kind of stuck where we were. We just kind of kept bleeding out. So we'll forget about this one for sure and go on to Kansas. I know we'll be good there, and just try to you know, get some momentum at Kansas and go on through that round. But really all tonight was about was advancing, and we did that. So so proud of that for sure.
So assess the 2014 for me right now. You say you want momentum. How do you get that, and how do you make it happen at Kansas?
I think just bringing fast cars. You know, we had that on Saturday, and I don't know why it was different today, but it was. But yeah, just need to bring a fast car to Kansas, and then I know we'll be good at the Roval, and I know Talladega can go either way. So we'll just have to go there and be strong.
Tough night for William Byron, but they're still in the fight.
I want to go back to Parker's first interview. Just so you know, Alex Bowman's keeping score. Did you hear what he told Parker? They're going to keep counting us out. Yeah. That's fine. I don't care.
That's right.
Doesn't bother me at all. Let's talk about Chase Elliott, DJ, a second-place finish. It feels like a team, not so much like Kyle Larson and his team, but they needed kind of a run like this going into the next round.
I think they certainly did need that. You know, they've been there. They've been there all year, you know, with really good finishes, but not being right up front. I mean, you know, his teammates in another league right there.
Sure.
And that. Yeah. And I think that they go to Kansas, though, as a group, as a whole. You know, they've got 4 of them to work with, and when they go to Talladega after that, they've got 4 drivers that are in the playoffs there to work together to see who can get through that.
Yeah, Hendrick Motorsports certainly very strong with Kyle Larson still celebrating behind us after an absolutely dominant performance tonight here at Bristol. NASCAR America Post Race is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. NBC Sports on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 this Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern. It'll be Kim Kuhn who can give us all the behind-the-scenes details on Kyle Larson's dominant win. She had his pit stall tonight. Maybe she'll tell us what happened and how they dominated all but 38 laps here at Bristol. Unfortunately, Harrison Burton will not advance to the round of 12. Right now, he's with Dillon.
Well, power steering issues ultimately derailed the playoffs tonight for Harrison Burton. Hey, on a positive note, to get to just experience this first round of the playoffs, what did you learn as a driver and just about yourself as a competitor through this?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was really fun to show up and have speed at all the racetracks we went to, right? And it was just a comedy of errors, really. I mean, with Atlanta, the last corner, blowing a tire at Watkins Glen, and now this, right? And just kind of heartbreaking to end it that way, where I felt like our team stepped up and we brought fast race cars. We're good in all the practices. Just need to qualify better and need to, find a way to finish the races where we belong. So proud of our guys, really just super proud to be a part of the Wood Brothers family, and sad it's over, but we've still got a lot to race for. Now that we've kind of been bumped up in the points, we can go get these guys if they have some bad weekends, and we have some good ones. So a lot to fight for. I just got to get my arms back underneath me before next weekend.
Is there a harder track on the schedule potentially to have a power steering issue than this?
No, I don't think so. I've not tried it anywhere else, but yeah, this was not fun. Just went as long as I could, and eventually just got to where I couldn't correct the car and was getting loose and thought I was just going to wreck without being able to turn to the right fast enough. So just frustrated I wasn't strong enough to keep going, but that's just part of it.
Playoffs in tonight for Harrison Burton, but he's right, still plenty to fight for the rest of the season.
Austin Cindric is able to advance here at Bristol the next round of the playoffs. You guys really started at Atlanta strong. I feel like that helped propel you guys to this position.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, getting the stage points there as well as Watkins Glen, and having 3 solid finishes. I mean, our worst finish to 13th. That's what we need in this round, racing within our limits, and no reason why we can't do the same thing in the next. And I think that's what it's going to take to move on to the round of 8. So just really proud of my team. Solid night from starting as far back as we did and staying in the lead lap for as long as we did. And car was really strong thanks to Menards and everyone at Team Penske, and looking forward to getting going again next week.
It seems like this race team has continually improved through the summer, now into the playoffs. Do you have you know where that performance is coming from, or is there any one single thing you could identify?
I think it's just execution, right? I mean, I feel like throughout the course of the summer, there was a lot of times we had speed. It's just, you have one big blow up or one big mistake, whether if that's on me or on pit road or, strategy or performance of the car, like one or two things, and that's what it takes in the Cup Series. I mean, you have 1 or 2 things go wrong. It's pretty hard to recover unless you're a dominant car. So, like I said, just proud of the effort to bring really solid race cars the first 3 rounds and be able to do the right things with them.
Great first round of the playoffs for Austin Cindric and the 2 team.
Parker, one real quick note on Harrison Burton before we move on to Austin Cindric. He'll always have the honor of having won the 100th race for the Wood Brothers, an organization that you both won races for as well. But let's talk about Austin Cindric. I mean, could you make the argument, Kyle, that he was really the star of the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, the forgotten Penske driver was the star Penske driver.
Right,
That's it. He went into this race averaging a 10th place finish. He was as far as the championship contenders or the playoff drivers, he was at the top, sharp end of the stick. He was had a 13th place finish here. He said, we executed within our limits. I thought that they made the playoffs at Atlanta. That was a huge statement for this team. The way he ran Atlanta, winning those stage points and capitalizing on that today, this team has outperformed, yes.
Yeah, very impressive what they put together. And if they can continue this momentum, I mean, they have tracks coming up that they can take advantage of the talent that he has and the execution that they're putting forth right now. I think he and Chase Briscoe, for these 3 races, I mean, Briscoe got in an accident where he was running around the top 5, top 6 at Atlanta. Otherwise, but, go back to Darlington, these 2 have done everything they needed to do to be a part of the round of 12.
Now it's on to the round of 12, which starts next Sunday at Kansas Speedway.
We've got 400 miles today. Going to be a long race. Make sure we're hanging tough, and we're there at the end. Be smart all day. Let's go to work. Yes, sir. Kill, dude. I see you spinning. Yeah, it's too much. Refocus. Everybody get your together now. What the hell was that about? Everything ass. For you, Mr. H.
I can't believe it.
Hell yeah, dude. Way to go. Yeah, baby. Keep talking that. What they gonna say now, baby? Let's go. Hell yeah, buddy. Let's go! Yeah! All right! You are awesome!
It all starts next Saturday with Xfinity Series action. First race for the playoffs for that group. It'll be on CW. NASCAR Countdown Live starts at 3:30 Eastern. And then on Sunday, USA Countdown to Green, 2:30 Eastern for the first race of the round of 12 for the NASCAR Cup Series. DJ, could you make the argument that Kansas has maybe not so quietly become one of the better tracks in NASCAR for this car?
Oh, absolutely. I think that it all changed. I mean, we've always seen some pretty good racing there, but it certainly has changed with this car, and I don't see that changing when we go there next week.
Because you can run literally from the bottom of the racetrack to the top of the racetrack, Kyle, and the restarts there have just been insane the last couple of years.
The restarts are insane, and if we look at that list of drivers who have won there lately, if you look at Bubba, if you look at Tyler Reddick, if you talk about Kyle Larson, they're going to run from the bottom to the top. They're going to use every inch of this racetrack. And this car, when NASCAR came with the next gen, it opened up those 1.5 mile racetracks to be perfect for the playoffs.
All right, DJ, who do you like momentum-wise heading into Kansas?
This young man standing behind us back here.
That'd be Kyle Larson, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I don't see how you can't with that, but I'm not going to take Denny Hamlin out of this. I think because the one thing that Larson had, he's got pressure on him next week, because even though he runs really well and finds himself in the mix at Talladega and Daytona, he doesn't find himself in the right spot towards the end of these races. And so that he really needs to have a good week.
And you know the Toyotas will be strong next week at Kansas too, Kyle. It was a wild one here at Bristol Motor Speedway. I mean, who would have thought Daniel Suarez, 4 laps down, finishes 31st would advance, but that's exactly what happened. He somehow made it through. Martin Truex Jr. no longer going to be in the playoffs moving forward because of that speeding penalty. But at the end of the day, it was Kyle Larson with the big dominant win here, leading all but 38 laps. Coming up next on USA, the Anonymous. We'll see you next week from Kansas.